On air.
I don't think there is.
Check it out.
Evolve as a race car driver.
It's back-to-back for Denny Hamlin.
To be a championship driver, you have to have confidence.
Kevin Harvick will become a three-time winner of the Brickyard 400.
I enjoy the process of being good at something.
They have done it again here. Great season continues for Denny Hamlin.
Nobody's been able to touch the closer.
Kevin Harvick took command.
They've done it again. He's done it again. Harvick is going to sweep Michigan. He wins again.
I love to see the emotion that comes from a group of people that have been in battle together and beat everybody else.
For the fifth time this season, Denny Hamlin is a winner.
We're having a fantastic year. I just feel like I'm in my wheelhouse right now.
You know, everybody is very satisfied with the things that we're doing and the accomplishments that we have.
Hell yeah, boys! Awesome. Hell yeah. Great job. Awesome job.
The two most dominant drivers of the 2020 campaign.
Welcome to NASCAR America. 1 down, 3 to go. It's a double-double weekend in Dover. A Cup and Xfinity Series race today and tomorrow. Justin Allgaier just won the Xfinity Series event. Now the likes of Daniel Suarez, Brad Keselowski, Jimmy Johnson, and Joey Logano take their turn at the Monster Mile. Welcome into our studio. Again, NASCAR America presented by Progressive. Here with Kyle Petty and Dale Jarrett. And KP, these races, 2 Cup Series races, they're shorter than normal. But having 2, that's got to double the pressure, right?
Double the pressure, double the dread. Let me say, I'm old enough that I ran 500-mile races there, and we would circle it on the calendar and dread the day that we had to go into Dover to run that 500 miles. To think that you've got to run a race today, hang out tonight, and run another race tomorrow, for a lot of these guys, they're dreading it. For the guys that run really good this afternoon, they'll be chomping at the bits tonight to get back on the racetrack tomorrow to try to do the double-double.
Yeah, I ran those 500-mile races too, KP. We used to make a joke that it was 500 miles or 24 hours, whichever came first. Now it's going to take them 24 hours to run these 2 300-mile, or 311, if you will. So it should be interesting. This is a racetrack that if you're off just a little bit, it is so magnified because of the speed that you carry, the banking in the corners, everything that goes on with trying to make speed around here, having to attack all the time. If there's something that keeps you from doing that, then you find yourself having a long, long day. Short race, fewer times to be on pit road to make adjustments. So the crew chiefs and the drivers are going to have to be on the same page, make sure that they're getting the job done here. And finding out exactly what they can do that might make their car better tomorrow. But the first thing up is this afternoon and trying to get that win and go to victory lane.
Yeah, a 311-lap race, 311 miles. It's a 1-mile track. Today, then Xfinity and Cup back again tomorrow, beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern. Well, the news today on Friday, Cup Series driver Corey LaJoie announcing on social media that he will not return to Go Fast Racing after this season. This is his 2nd year with the organization. Before the season, the 28-year-old LaJoie gave team owner Rick Hendrick a handwritten letter asking for consideration as Jimmy Johnson's replacement in the 48 car for the 2021 season. In other news, Austin Dillon has been medically cleared to return to the track and will drive the number 3 Chevy this weekend. Dillon missed last Sunday's race at the Daytona Road Course after announcing a positive test for COVID-19. He is back today. By the way, his replacement driver last weekend, Kaz Grala, the great finish, finishing in the top 10, 7th. Now, back in July, Dillon secured a spot in the Cup Series playoffs with his victory at Texas. One driver desperately trying to join him is 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson, who is currently beneath the cut line. No one is happier to be racing at Dover than Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson, the Dover Monster Master.
Dover has never really left Jimmy Johnson's wheelhouse. He's always the guy to beat there.
This is the track that separates the men from the boys. Jimmy Johnson manhandled the field.
We are coming to the checkers. You won.
For the 11th time in his career, Jimmy Johnson has picked up the win at Dover.
Yeah, this is his playground. Dover International Speedway honoring Jimmy Johnson this weekend. Tracks throughout the 2020 season have been saluting the 7-time champ as he competes in his final full-time season in NASCAR. You see the monster that will greet the teams outside the track holding the 48 car. So, Dale, you have to wonder, is this it? Is Jimmy going into this weekend feeling like this is his last best chance to make the playoffs for his final season?
Yeah, you have to believe that. And on the Zoom call with Jimmy yesterday, we heard him talk about why he liked this place so much, how he took to it very quickly, about having to know exactly what he needed, how loose he had to run the car. And I think that's been a lot of his success here, that he's able to do that and has been able to do that and come away with the trophy 11 times. Just incredible. So you have to believe that giving him 2 days here on back-to-back days, that opportunity is right here in front of him. He doesn't want to go to Daytona next weekend with the uncertainty of everything that can happen in that race, even trying to make it in on points or trying to see if he can get a win there. He wants to get it done this weekend, and what a better place. He's just so very talented. You know, when you talk about Jimmy Johnson at Dover and everything that he's been able to do, the number of times he wins, he contends every single time. You think about Michael Jordan going to Madison Square Garden, and you always knew he was going to score a lot of points there. Tiger Woods going to Augusta to play in the Masters, that he was going to be in the mix. It didn't make any difference at what point in his career that he was going to have an opportunity. So I believe Jimmy Johnson has that opportunity, and I think this might sound crazy. There's just something telling me that the shorter race is actually going to play into his favor. We'll see here this afternoon.
Okay, let me say that I will admit when I'm wrong. Jimmy Johnson has never dreaded going to Dover. Okay, when you look at those numbers, he may be the only guy who has never dreaded going to Dover. And I think Dale mentioned it. 2 bites at the apple. 2 bites at the apple for an opportunity to be in the playoffs. It couldn't come at a better place for Jimmy Johnson than Dover, and especially the way he's run the last 2 or 3 races. I think they found some speed in the Hendrick organization. They found some speed with the Chevys, and when you take a driver to a racetrack that he enjoys running, that he loves to run, that he looks forward to, then there's a little bit of pep in his step. We just saw it in the Xfinity race with Justin Allgaier. Will we see it in the Cup race with Jimmy Johnson?
And you see the numbers. Jimmy Johnson currently 25 points below the cut line, chasing his teammate William Byron for that final spot in the playoffs. Well, Jimmy, obviously the focus on Dover, but this week he also unveiled the look of his car for Darlington, throwing back and honoring the other 2 7-time champions in Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty. That looks awesome. And by the way, the other Hendrick drivers, Jimmy's teammates, will be running paint schemes of Jimmy Johnson, some of his big moments and big championship years. So that'll be a lot of fun. Of course, as we said, the spotlight is on Dover. Coming up, the bubble battle rages on. William Byron holds that final playoff spot. Will that be the case when he leaves Dover? So much at stake in this race. The playoffs loom, but also reigning series champ Kyle Busch. He's yet to win a race this year. He'll have 2 chances to end the drought at the Monster Mile. And NASCAR Hall of Famer Ken Squire explains how challenging times led to a random weekend in August becoming the biggest one on the motorsports calendar. NASCAR America is brought to you by Progressive. Stay on track with great rates at progressive.com. Tomorrow on NBC, it's the 104th running of the Indianapolis 500. Marco Andretti starts on the pole, trying to follow in his grandfather Mario's footsteps by drinking the milk in Victory Lane. Coverage gets started tomorrow at 1 Eastern on NBC. When the year 2020 began, the Indianapolis 500 was set to take place on May 24th during Memorial Day weekend. But a global pandemic forced the world to adapt. As a result, this weekend, August 22nd and 23rd, has become the biggest in motorsports. To put this in perspective, 2 men who have covered both open wheel and stock car racing for years, journalistic legends Robin Miller and the voice of NASCAR, Hall of Famer Ken Squire.
In racing parlance, 2020 has been a false start, a red flag, and a glorified tire test for IndyCar and for NASCAR. Because of the coronavirus, IndyCar lost its first 6 races, didn't open the season until June, while NASCAR got going on time at Daytona before being shut down for 2 months.
This is my sim rig here.
Both series have either played to empty houses or greatly reduced crowds. Yet in the face of these obstacles and medical challenges, the two most popular sanctioning bodies in North America are operating like nothing's changed in terms of good competition. Scott Dixon, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, they're still kicking butt. And the youngsters in both series are driving like veterans. And this weekend won't be the doubleheader fans have grown accustomed to, because instead of 1,100 miles of racing at Indianapolis and Charlotte, North Carolina, that May tradition has been pushed back to Sunday, August the 23rd, with the Indy 500 and 400 miles at Dover, Delaware, instead of 600 in North Carolina. These two powerhouses have always been resilient. Indianapolis never missed a beat after being shut down for 2 years in World War I, 4 years for World War II, while NASCAR, they've overcome driver strikes, gasoline shortage, and manufacturer pullouts. And racing has been a remedy for tough times as well. Following the terror of the 9/11 attacks, Dale Earnhardt Jr. returned some normalcy to the country by winning the first race back at Dover.
Good to be back in the race car, and I'm glad I could be the guy to win the race so I could carry the American flag around there, and that made me feel good.
America has never faced an opponent like this coronavirus. It's taken a lot of creative thinking to get cars back on track. The 104th Indianapolis 500, which usually has throngs close to 300,000, will have no fans for the first time in a century of history, while Dover Downs will begin its 5th decade of stock car racing with no spectators. But a gearhead can switch on NBC at 1 p.m. and still be watching until the sun goes down, because it may be a different time of the year, but it's still the best day in motorsports.
Robin Miller writing those words, then voiced by Ken Squire. And Kyle, it really is all about that history. I know when Will Power won the Indianapolis 500, he talked about the fact how the track picks you. Simon Pagenaud said, this year, yes, the calendar will say August, but it's still going to feel like May.
Yeah, if you look at the history of Indianapolis, it is almost as if the track picks the winner every year. But as we look at this, and the world has changed, the world we live in has changed, and Indianapolis has changed. Roger Penske now owns the place. It's not May, it's August. Things have changed, but it's still the Indianapolis 500. And I don't care where you are in the world, if you're a motorsports fan and you love to watch cars and you love to watch guys put it on the line lap after lap after lap, all you have to hear is the word Indy, and you know exactly where they're talking about. It is incredible to feel the excitement of that place when you're there. It's incredible to watch it, and I am really looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, regardless of when it's run, it's still the greatest race in the world. And you talk about the past winners of it, the history of everything, the Andretti family's history there is enough in itself. Just talking about with Mario and his win, and then Marco sitting on the pole this year, and how close his dad, Michael, came to winning this, but never getting that opportunity to go visit and celebrate in Victory Lane. So many storylines there. I really think if anybody's going to go to Victory Lane, they're going to have to outrun Scott Dixon. That's my prediction, since he won back there on the road course earlier in July. But it will be a fascinating race once again. And once again, whoever wins, doesn't matter if it's May, August, doesn't matter whenever you're racing there. It's just a true honor to be there and be a part of it.
I know the world certainly has changed. Yes, now falling on a weekend in August. It's birthday weekend in our house. Happy birthday, Emmy. I have a 7-year-old. Isn't that crazy? Going back to the history of NASCAR as it takes on Dover today. Hard to believe it was 51 years ago when Hall of Famer Wendell Scott competed in the first Cup Series race at the Monster Mile, finishing 7th. It was Scott's second best finish of his 51 starts during the 1969 season. A key part of Scott's career was longtime pit crew member Raymond Arnold, who passed away last month. For more on a man who was more than just a crewman to Wendell Scott, here's Dave Burns.
Krista, in fact, Raymond Arnold was the last living member from Wendell Scott's Hall of Fame racing career. But as you say, he was more than just a crew member. He was a family member. Raymond's son Trey remembers thinking he was a part of the Scott family because Wendell Scott would come over and visit with the grandkids and Trey all the time outside the shop in Spartanburg, South Carolina. He would do feats of wonder like riding backwards on a bicycle, sitting on the handlebars. Not something that I could really pursue in any way. But being immersed into the car culture like that naturally made Trey a car guy. He went on to get him a degree in mechanical engineering as well as an MBA, and later hired on with the Ford Motor Company and still plies his trade there after 22 years in Michigan. Now, of course, Trey and the entire family will miss Raymond. They miss being around him, but the stories will remain, like the time in 1969 when Wendell Scott's team and the entire series raced the Firecracker 400 in Daytona, then drove 900 miles to here in Dover 2 days later to race the inaugural event at Dover International Speedway. Krista, kind of reminds me of the doubleheader weekend this weekend.
Yes, it does. And that photo that Dave showed there during that story, that was from the Hall of Fame with Trey and Raymond. Just a guy doing his job, but also blazing a trail, continuing in the footsteps of Wendell Scott. And veteran sports executive, a former boss in the XFL, Eric Moses, has been named president of Nashville Superspeedway, becoming the first African-American to hold that title at any NASCAR track. Nashville Superspeedway will be on the 2021 Cup schedule. The track has a 4-year sanctioning agreement with NASCAR. Nashville Superspeedway, owned by the same group who runs Dover's track. That's where the NASCAR spotlight shines today. Coming up, we'll look at some drivers who could play a big role in today's race. We'll go on the clock when NASCAR America returns. NASCAR America is brought to you by Progressive. Stay on track with great rates at progressive.com. It's not too late to start playing NASCAR Fantasy Live. Create an entry, join a league today for your chance to win a $10,000 cash prize for the best overall score. Just visit NASCAR.com/fantasy. One driver to pick for your fantasy team might be today's Progressive Safe driver, and that is Chase Elliott. Last week, Elliott made history by winning the first ever Cup Series race held on the Daytona road course. It was his second victory of the year. Chase tries to keep that momentum going this weekend at Dover. So is he one to watch? Let's go ahead and give you some driver names. We go on the clock. KP?
Yep, and I've got Chase Elliott, so here's what I'm going to say. 2017, October, Chase Elliott races Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch schools Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott had the best car. Kyle Busch wins the race. He learned his lesson well. Recently, we think of him as a road course racer and a road course winner, but this kid can win anywhere, anytime, and this could be the day that he shows them.
Well, the man that finished a close second to him last week at the road course at Daytona is Denny Hamlin, and we could use up a whole 20 seconds with a lot of descriptions about Denny's season, but I think I'm going to use the word best. Denny is doing his best work behind the wheel, thinking his way through this, and this could be the season, I truly believe, his best opportunity to win this championship.
Are you guys trying to tell me we only get 20 seconds? Because I need more than that for this next driver. Martin Truex Jr., he's right behind Denny Hamlin on the starting grid. 3 career wins at Dover, including May of last year, also finished runner-up last fall. But what's really cool, he has finished third in the last 5 races. How rare is this run of third-place finishes for Truex? Yeah, we're just going to stop the clock. I'm just going to keep talking. You have just about the same chance of being struck by lightning as you do finishing third in 5 straight races. The chances of Martin finishing third again today, 23.5 million to 1. And Dustin Long had a professor of sports analytics at Syracuse run these numbers. You can see that in a fun article at NBCSports.com/NASCAR. Okay, I'm done, Kyle. You can go now. I took 45
Let's just go back to... Yeah, let's just go back to Krista because she's used all of Dale and my time here, so we have nothing left. So I'm sorry about that, Clint. I'm going to go to Clint here. Okay, I think this is a big race for Clint Boyer. Okay, there's not a track that he has more top 10s. He has 16 top 10s here, but he's got to make something happen with this Stewart-Haas team. His name's in the rumor mill. Next year, is he going to talk about it or is he going to do it? We've got to figure out if Clint's going to be around.
Okay, and I think Alex Bowman is going to be around. He was around certainly whenever we started back racing. He's had a great season, but recently hasn't been so good. This is a driver that finished second and third at this track last year in the 2 races. He's ready and needs to get things back going in the right direction before the playoffs start. A good opportunity for him in these next 2 days.
I want to give a shout out to Joey Gase. He's doing something really cool this week. He's raising money for those affected by that huge windstorm that blew through the Midwest. Joey's hometown of Cedar Rapids, Iowa was actually hit very hard. So was my hometown, Clinton, Iowa, just about 90 miles from Cedar Rapids. So the money he's raising today is going directly to his hometown. Joey was there in Iowa when those windstorms came through. You'll remember Gase won the Comcast Community Champion Award in its inaugural year.
Once again, you go over the limit and you go off script because I didn't have Joey Gase on my script. So I'm going to go with Cole Custer on this. Winning breeds confidence. Cole Custer is a winner here. It might have been an Xfinity race, but he is a winner here. And we know he's won at the Cup level. This kid has shown huge strides this year, but I think this whole rookie class, Dover is a place where Christopher Bell, John Hunter Nemechek, Cole Custer, Tyler Reddick, all these guys can perform, but I look for Custer to have a good day today.
Well, I'm going to stay in the rookie class, and another rookie that's performed extremely well is Tyler Reddick. And when we talk about Dover, all we talk about is how hard you have to drive, how you have to attack the track lap after lap. Well, we're talking about Tyler Reddick. That's him at whatever track they're at. So I think these next 2 days are great opportunities for him to try to make his way into the playoffs. Doesn't want to wait till Daytona next week.
Okay, I'm staying on script. I'm staying with the rookie theme. In 20th place, 146 points below the cut line. Christopher Bell, Kyle mentioned him. He starts 18th, needs a win to get into the playoffs. No Cup races at Dover, but 2 wins in 4 career Xfinity Series starts. Christopher Bell could be strong today. Look, I went under. Look at that. I have 4 seconds left. Kyle, do you want to use it? Oh, we're out.
Use them on something important. Use them on something important, Krista.
The clock doesn't stop here. Coming up, it's Countdown to Green as we get ready for some Cup Series racing. The first of 2 Cup races at Dover this weekend.
Kevin Harvick is going to sweep Michigan. He wins again.
This place the monster, and for good reason. He blew the field away here at the Dover International Speedway.
Chase Elliott, he's about to tame the monster. Martin Truex Jr. with a statement win here at Dover.
Welcome to Countdown to Green, presented by Sonic. Coming off a historic race last week on the Daytona Road Course, the NASCAR Cup Series returns to one of the toughest places to race on the schedule, not once, but twice. Dover, Delaware, and just 3 races remain in the regular season. We're going to knock out 2 of them this weekend. 10 drivers have locked up playoff spots, leaving 6 up for grabs. One of the drivers who currently holds one of those 6 extra tickets is Matt DiBenedetto. He's with Dylan Welch.
And he is on the good side of that line, Krista, as you said. So coming to a place as well that Matt likes and has run well at in the past. So is having a doubleheader here this weekend, is that a positive for you and the 21 team?
Yeah, I think so. I love coming to Dover. It's one of my favorite tracks. A lot of people know any of these places where it's 750 horsepower and we got the low downforce on them. It's a lot of fun to drive, especially on a hot, slick day like this. We'll be sliding around. So, yeah, we got the Monster Energy Menards Mustang today. I hope we can get them a good run. It's just been a really stressful couple weeks coming down to crunch time of the playoffs, man.
Is having a doubleheader, given your situation, I mean, is that something that you look at as an opportunity, or is it more stressful knowing that if you have a bad day today, tomorrow is going to be that much harder?
Oh, I would say if it was a doubleheader at a place like Daytona or something, I wouldn't be too excited with, the mess and chaos that ensues. But a track that you like, that makes you really look forward to a doubleheader a lot more. So I always love coming to Dover. It's going to be a stressful weekend, though, because it's so important to rack up as many points. So our win would be great, but at least rack up as many points as we can because you need all the cushion possible going to Daytona.
He always runs well on these concrete tracks, these high-banked racetracks like Bristol, like Dover here this weekend. Matt DiBenedetto starts 14th today, Krista.
Thanks, Dylan. And Dale, he mentioned the word cushion. Matt is currently 15th in the standings. Now, 16 drivers get in, but you've talked about this in the past, actually for the last few weeks. 15th is sort of the one you're going for.
Yeah, and if you look at that, certainly he is 44 above the cut line, but he's only 19 ahead of William Byron, and that could go away this afternoon, much less than the 2 races here over the next 2 days if you don't get the job done. But this is a type racetrack that does suit his style. He's driving really well, being smart about what he's doing here. But I think gathering stage points and being as close to the front after that last pit stop gives him a really good opportunity this weekend. You just don't want to be in that 16th spot going to Daytona next week because the likelihood of having a winner that sits outside the top 16 is very, very possible. But this is where Matt kind of shines with his talent on this type of racetrack.
Yeah, and Dale's exactly right. I think you're looking at a doubleheader weekend. We've talked Jimmy Johnson. We've talked Chase Elliott. You talk guys like Jimmy that's outside, and I go back to him, that can jump in. So that 15th spot is the spot that you have to be looking at. You can lose points really fast. It's tough to gain points. I think for Matt DiBenedetto, he's got to come in here. He's got to keep his head cool. He's got to stay on top of what he's doing. We saw him get a little testy a couple of weeks ago when some things happened to him and he lost some points. He can't let that get to him today, win, lose, or draw, because there's another race on this track tomorrow, and he's got to maximize this effort to be able to go into Daytona in that 14th or 15th position and have that little bit of cushion.
Well, he talked about the heat, maybe not as hot as it was at Daytona. NASCAR obviously making some changes this week to keep the drivers a little cooler. We'll see what happens in this race. He does drive for the legendary Wood Brothers. Coming up, we're going to hear from a driver who's had his share of moments at the Monster Mile. He's already called one race today. Dale Earnhardt Jr. joins us next. Countdown to Green is brought to you by the Toasted S'mores Shake, only at Sonic. Marco Andretti will lead the field to green for the 104th running of the Indianapolis 500. That's tomorrow at 1 Eastern on NBC. Well, from one famous racing name, Andretti, to another in Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt Jr. joins us now. He's in the broadcast booth at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And Junior, you were at the Indy 500 last year. Some people might be surprised, but with the schedule the way it is, that isn't always the case that you're able to go. It's a special weekend for sure.
Yeah, you know, I was a NASCAR kid growing up and drove race cars in NASCAR all my life, and nothing was better than NASCAR. And I would argue that to everybody that wanted to argue it until I went to the Indy 500. And it is the greatest spectacle that I've ever seen, especially in motorsports, hands down. If you haven't ever been to the Indy 500 and you are a motorsports fan of any discipline, that's something that you have to put on your calendar.
Okay, so listen, a doubleheader at Dover. I'm not going to say it's Indy, but it ranks high for me. I have to say, and especially after watching the Xfinity race. So here's my question: watching the Xfinity race, a little bit different right side compound, different tire. We saw massive looseness from a lot of these guys. They were sideways and backwards. Now we're running a different downforce package, more power. As we look at the Cup cars, what do you expect?
I hope more of the same. Man, it was a lot of fun watching the Xfinity guys hang those cars out. And, you know, throughout the whole corner, you really just don't see that anymore in NASCAR, guys running cars sideways. Now, you guys remember, even when this place was asphalt, you went around it sideways. You had smoke coming off the tires all the time. That was normal. We just don't see that anymore in our series. But today, for whatever reason, those Xfinity drivers really had their hands full. So I hope that the entire Cup field has to suffer through that same thing today for 311 laps.
Dale, we talk about the physical side of this racetrack, and certainly with the races being short of 311 laps, they're probably not going to get all of that hot inside the car, but just the physical beating that you take as a driver each and every lap. Can you describe that to the fans a little?
Yeah, you get shaken around in there like a paint can in a shaker. The car bounces. If you ever rode down the interstate, a concrete interstate with joints in it, it's like imagine doing that at 150 miles an hour, because this entire track is nothing but concrete joints, and those joints bow up like a poorly treated porch deck, and those cars just bounce. And so as you're running, you're heating the tire up. It's building air pressure in the tire. And so those things just start bouncing all the way around this track and all those joints. It's terrible. I've actually ran a race here back in early 2000s that shook the interior sheet metal out of the car, broke the spot welds away from the frame. And, you know, I got out and thought, you know, puffed my chest out and thought, yeah, I'm tough. See what it did to this race car. But this place is hard. It's really hard on you, hard on the drivers, breaks the cars. You know, the loads that they have in the corner when they drive off that jump and land down in the middle of the corner, it's going to it's going to stress the suspension in the components of the car like never all year long. So wouldn't be surprised to see not only the drivers have a hard time, but the cars as well. We see cars break here all the time at this racetrack.
Well, let's get some more on that right now. Talking about that paint can in a shaker, the loads on those high banks. Nobody might know that better than one of our pit reporters. He's also a lieutenant commander in the U.S. Naval Reserve. Jesse Awuji is on the high banks. Jesse, talk about what these drivers are going to face today.
Oh, yeah, so they're going to be experiencing a lot today. Here at Dover, drivers are going to be experiencing a huge amount of G-forces throughout the race day. The reason they're experiencing that is because when they enter these turns, they're going to be entering them at very high speeds. Also, these turns are also 24 degrees banking within each corner, and then on the straights are going to be 9 degrees. The Naval Academy is about 70 miles from here. This week, I called up some of my old Naval Academy buddies, the ones that have since transitioned to become an F-18 pilot. I asked them, how are G-forces affecting you on an aircraft carrier? They told me they're experiencing 4 Gs every time they launch. During a deployment, 10 months in time, fighter pilots are usually going about 150 to 200 takeoffs from a carrier. These drivers today are going to be experiencing over 2 Gs of force every time they enter these corners. When that happens, they're going to be doing it almost 600 times throughout the race day. That 600 times is going to take a toll on their body. That mental preparation, that mental toughness is going to be huge for these drivers today. We'll see who has prepared their body most by the end of the day.
Thanks, Jesse. Great insight. So let's get Dale Jr.'s opinion on that. Just another way to look at it, I guess, Dale Jr., but for drivers, I mean, you walk out of there just sort of rattled.
Yeah, you do. It's one of the tracks that kind of uses you up. But the thing is, these guys got to do it 2 days in a row. I know it's just a little bit shorter of a race, but 311 laps here is a lot of time in the race car, and it'll beat you up, and you got to rebound and do the exact same thing tomorrow. And they're also running these cars further in miles or laps than they ever anticipated or ever have at Darling or at Dover in some time. So, you know, in the years past, we run 400 laps here. Now we're going to do 2 311 lap races back to back.
Yeah, and Kyle's talked about those 500 lap days. He said dreading it. Dreading it is what he talked about. But yeah, no question, it's going to be a long 2 days of racing for guys like Kyle Busch. Thanks, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's going to be up in the booth with Rick, Steve, and Jeff for today's race. Coming up, Kyle hoping to secure a playoff spot by grabbing his first win of the 2020 season. We'll hear from the defending Cup champion when Countdown to Green continues. Are you ready to win $25,000? The free-to-play Finish Line app is here to make that happen. Your racing experience will hit the jackpot. Go to your Apple Store or Google Play and download the Finish Line app today. Here's what's on the menu, brought to you by Sonic. Fresh off his victory last week on the Daytona Road Course, Chase Elliott starts on the pole today. Chase is a Dover winner. Jimmy Johnson's last Cup Series win came at Dover. That was over 3 years ago. JJ has won here a record 11 times. A 12th win means a spot in the playoffs. And Kevin Harvick can clinch the regular season championship today and receive 15 extra playoff points. And the experts in Las Vegas like Kevin Harvick's chances to take the checkered flag. He's the odds-on favorite at 3-1. Kyle Busch also boasts an impressive record at Dover. He's won here 3 times. Most recently in 2017, he's with Dave.
And Krista, you could say that about a lot of tracks. Kyle has had success. So I guess with Dover, do we say today is the day you guys bring it back around, Kyle, get the 18 car back on track?
Justin Allgaier did, so yes, I'm all for it. Obviously having interstate batteries back on board, being in the green, and hopefully being able to take our number 18 Toyota Camry to the front today is what it's all about. You know, we've had a strugglesome season, but we've had a couple bright spots here or there. You know, we've had a lot of bad luck, but overall, it's about getting a victory lane. So Dover's been a pretty decent place for us. I feel like we're always kind of, you know, 3rd to 5th here. There's always like 2 guys that just kind of outrun us. So if we can get a little specialty in our interstate batteries Camry today, then hopefully we can take it to them.
Kyle, what will we see today? Is Dover a place where you'd prefer to have had some warm-up time, some practice, or can you settle right in here to the Monster?
I mean, obviously you want as much practice as you can get, at least a little bit, but, you know, not having any it's a place that you kind of got to feel things out a little bit just to kind of see where the grip level is. You know, typically when we start here on a race weekend, it's pretty green racetrack, not a lot of rubber down, but right now we have an Xfinity race that's down, you know, so the rubber's there, but the Cup cars put a different layer of rubber on the track, so it's going to be a bit different here the first 40 laps, kind of taking a set of what the place is going to feel like, and then try to go after it after that. And it's only 311 miles here today, not the typical 400. So a little bit shorter day, but still going to be tough to pass and tough to get track position.
All right, good luck today. Krista, he's won 3 out of 30, 10% at the Monster, trying to get back to victory lane.
Oh, we like those numbers. So I guess, like we said, in between these two races today, Kyle, we saw Justin Allgaier do it in the Xfinity Series, get his first win of the year. Can Kyle Busch do it today?
Well, obviously, Kyle Busch was watching. And he took note of what was said and what we've been talking about. At the same time, I think I would like the guy from Syracuse to run the numbers on Kyle Busch to see if what the numbers would say that Kyle Busch would be 13th in points, have 1 stage win, and only 1 playoff point at this point in time in the season. That's got to be astronomical compared to the seasons that he's had in the past. So I think as you look at Kyle and we listen to what he says, those first 40 laps are going to be critical to those guys on where they go the rest of the race. And he brought it up again. It's a short race. 311 laps here is a short race. You've got to make something happen quick, but it's got to be good. You've got to make good things happen quick.
Yeah, and this goes past just this year. We go all the way back to last year. I know he ended up winning the championship and winning the race at Homestead to do that, but that obviously was his last win that he's had, but he didn't have much success before that. We were talking about how much they were struggling leading up to Homestead. Could they put it together? They did that. This is a really good race team with one of the best race drivers ever to come through this series. They're going to get it turned around. This is a tough place to make all of that happen, but another thing besides having his talent that he has on his side is a great pit crew. And he talked about track position. They could give him exactly what he needs to win here today.
Well, no question, a lot of eyes will be on Kyle Busch for those reasons. Also on Jimmie Johnson. Coming up, we're going to hear from the driver who has owned this place for the last 2 decades. 11-time Dover winner Jimmie Johnson talks about his chances when we come back. Countdown to Green is brought to you by the Toasted S'mores Shake, only at Sonic. No driver has won at Dover more than Jimmie Johnson with an unbelievable 11 victories. It's also the site of his most recent Cup win just over 3 years ago. The Monster holding on to Jimmie's car this weekend. The track is paying tribute to Johnson, competing in his final full-time Cup season. Parker Kligerman is with the man known to fans as 7-time, but at Dover it's more like 7-11.
May be focused on is actually 25 because that's how many points you're outside the playoffs with 3 races to go, 2 of which are here at Dover. What's the confidence level you can get it done?
Yeah, I feel really good about our chances here, but I do have a couple interesting twists in as I describe this and try to explain it. The guy that I won 11 times with here is the crew chief on the car I'm trying to race my way in against. So that's one little wrinkle in things. And then once we get through this weekend, we go to Daytona for a plate race. So I don't know what to expect, but I know that this Ally team is ready for the battle, and we'll put it all on the line and try to get every single point we can. Clearly, winning does a lot, and we've won a lot here in the past, and hopefully that happens again here over these next 2 days.
And guys, if he's able to win again, Dover just commemorated a plaque to him for his 11 wins, making the winningest driver here at Dover. If he wins again with 12, that will cost them $9,000 to replace that plaque. They're prepared for it, they said.
I like that. Yeah, I think it's something they would be willing to do because a dozen wins at a track would be pretty cool indeed. But Dale, the big news is it would put him into the playoffs. He's going to have to launch over. He mentioned his teammate, William Byron, who has his old crew chief calling the shots.
Yeah, he does have his old crew chief, and I think when you look at it, Jimmie Johnson is an enigma to me at this point in time in his career. But I look at it and I say, we are talking about an incredibly small amount of time or a small point in Jimmy Johnson's career. 7 championships. That's all you need to say about Jimmy Johnson. 7 championships. We can talk 11 wins at Dover, everything that he's done, but those 7 championships are a phenomenal record. But, you know, we look at him because we hold Jimmy Johnson to the Jimmy Johnson standard, to the Jimmy Johnson tape measure. And what he's done recently doesn't match up to what Jimmy Johnson did 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. But still, when we hold him up against the guys that are out there right now, he's right in the mix. He's in the mix with these young guys. He's in the mix with the old guys. And listen, 25 is not an unsurmountable number when you come to one of your favorite racetracks and you get 2 bites at it.
Yeah, you look at those numbers, that's just incredible to think what all he's accomplished at this racetrack. So I think there's a couple of things. I hope he can get it done. I'd love to see him in his final season do 2 things, get a win and also to make the playoffs and have that opportunity to still race for that 8th championship. I think that they should put another statue out there of Jimmy Johnson holding the monster in his hands, because he's had this thing in his hands in the way he's wanted it done. And the other thing is, I think he'll pay that $9,000 if they need to replace that track for his 12th win.
I was thinking that. I didn't want to put Jimmy on the spot by saying he would put it up, but yeah, I think you're right there. And if you want a chance at winning $1,000 more than that, $10,000, make sure you play NASCAR Pick'em on the NBC Sports Predictor app. DJ, you were back at it today, but the pressure is on. Kyle nearly pulled off the sweep last weekend. He finished with 2 of his 3 picks correct, so pressure's on. Who have you got?
I don't even know why I'm back in the seat of this. It should be KP's now. He proved he's way more up to the task than what I am. But when I look here at stage 1, I'm going to go with Brad Keselowski, performing at a high level, and I think that he'll be the man to beat in this first stage here of these 4.
Okay, I was gonna say, Kyle, do you have a pick? But we'll stick with Dale. Dale, your pick for stage 2.
Yeah, this is really a tough one right here, but I'm going with last week's winner. Chase Elliott really performs. Kyle mentioned how good he is at this racetrack, and I think that he right up in the mix all day long and takes this 2nd stage.
You look at those 4, it's like the 4 young guys there, and here you kind of have the champions row, if you will. I know Denny doesn't have that championship maybe yet, but this is a tough pick.
Yeah, so I put these 4 in a hat and drew out Denny Hamlin because I don't know any other way to go about this, and I like playing. Kyle used that Joey Logano was his friend. Well, I like playing golf with Denny Hamlin, so I'm going to use that. But I'm going to say that I don't pick. My winner of the race is going to be Martin Truex. Don't buy into that 23-1 that he's going to finish 3rd again. He's going to win the race this afternoon.
So Dale is now using your benchmark to make his picks, Kyle.
That's sad. That is sad that I brought him to my level. I'm going to say I've enjoyed this show. I've learned that Martin Truex, the odds of him being struck by lightning, we know what that is now. And we heard Dale Jr. say, chunka, 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 talking about the concrete and a poorly constructed front porch. Yes. I love that. I've learned so much on this show. I can't wait to see this race, man.
We came on the air with a Ouija board, a monkey playing a Ouija board, by the way, too, just if you're keeping track. Martin's very first Cup win, Martin Truex came here. I think that was a reschedule on the calendar, too, a weather-delayed Monday race, if I remember correctly. It's a big day today for those trying to get into the playoffs. It's a double. 2 Xfinity Series races, followed by 2 in the Cup Series. ×2 on the track and ×2 in the broadcast booth. Rick Allen, Dale Earnhardt Jr. bring in Jeff Burton and Steve Letarte with a monster of Cup Series regular season racing. You will see it right here next.
And now only 3 races until the playoffs begin.
William Byron holds the final playoff spot. Eric Jones and Johnson are scratching and clawing.
I'm all in with them, and I think they're all in with me. Hopefully get in the playoffs, see if we can go from there.
I think we can not only make them, but make a lot of hay in the playoffs because we've really hit our stride.
William Byron has got to find a way to outrun Jimmy Johnson at Dover.
I know my team's excited. We've definitely been competitive enough to win. It's just getting to the finish line.
And with only 3 races to go until the playoff starts, that bubble battle continues to heat up. And now you come to the Monster Mile here at Dover International Speedway. When you look at the playoff standings, of course, everybody in yellow that's won a race, they're locked in. But as we mentioned, that bubble battle, William Byron, Jimmy Johnson, 25 points separate those 2 with a possibility to be in the playoffs in 2020. From Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Booth Boys up here once again with you. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Burton, Steve Letarte, Rick Allen. And I want to start with you drivers and say, okay, we've got a doubleheader here at the Monster Mile. That means double the points, but also does that double the pressure?
Yeah, Rick, if you like pressure, this is for you, because this race today, in my opinion, is the most important race of the year for many drivers in this field. Why? Because if you have a bad race today, you're going to have a great race tomorrow to make up for it. Think about the week after. It's Daytona. You can't count on anything at Daytona. So if you are on that playoff bubble, you better execute and you better make it happen right now.
Yeah, one of the drivers that wants to make it happen right here at Dover is Dover's most dominant driver in its history. Jimmie Johnson, 11 wins at this racetrack. It is the site of his last win. We talked about him being minus 20 points, 25 points out of the bubble. He loves this high horsepower, low downforce package, and he's coming to this race with a chance to come out of here a winner, a guy that can go on into the playoffs in his final season.
Okay, so the drivers have said that there's obviously pressure on the drivers, trying to get as many points as they can. As a crew chief, how about the crew? Pressure on the crew as well as the equipment.
Well, I wasn't feeling that bad till they listen to what they had to say, Rick. Now I'm nervous. I only have 3 races to the playoffs. We're heading to the Monster Mile. The Monster is more than just about a challenge for a driver. It is a challenge for the vehicle. You see right here, the 3-car up into the fence, right front tire issues. Kevin Harvick, smoke out the back, contact right rear tire. How about Jimmie Johnson? 2018, he didn't even make the green flag. So this is a bear mechanically. It's also a bear for the crew chiefs. You see of all those mechanical issues, you also have to make good decisions on the pit stops. You have to improve your race car in a shorter race. Way to go, Rick. I was feeling good until this conversation. Now I'm nervous.
311 laps on drivers and equipment. Time for today's invocation for the Cup Series race from the 436th Airlift Wing, Dover Air Force Base. We go to Chaplain Andre Davis.
Dear Lord, today we are grateful for the life you have given us and the ability to join in this competition and the performance of skill. We are grateful for this event, which brings people of all ages together in a spirit of excitement. During this race, we pray that good sportsmanship will prevail behind every wheel. We pray that no harm would befall any of the competitors or individuals involved in this event today. We pray that we might be mindful of your presence as we view from our homes, that they might feel your presence on the track and in the pits, but most especially in our hearts, that we may acknowledge you as the very driver of our souls, accelerating us on our road ahead. To the author of the race set out before us, these things we pray to you, Lord. Amen.
Now to perform the national anthem from the 512th Airlift Wing, Dover Air Force Base, here is Senior Airman Brianna Cooper.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Pressure is high. It's the first race of the weekend for the Cup Series. 311 laps today, 311 tomorrow. We'll fire the engines when we come back.
Jimmie
Johnson, the Dover Monster Master.
Dover has never really left Jimmy Johnson's wheelhouse. He's always the guy to beat there.
This is the track that separates the men from the boys. Jimmy Johnson manhandled the field.
We are coming to the checker. You won.
For the 11th time in his career, Jimmy Johnson has picked up the win at Dover.
NASCAR Cup Series Drydene 311, part of the Drydene doubleheader weekend here from Dover International Speedway. And of course, when you're on a little bit of a slump, what better place to come to than the place where you have been the most dominant? We're talking, of course, about the 48 and Jimmy Johnson. For more, let's go to Parker Kligerman.
You are right, Rick. The confidence this race team is very high coming into Dover off a strong run at the Daytona Road Course, getting to top 5. With their 25 points out of the playoffs, you might think they want to race for points, but crew chief Cliff Daniels told me, unless we're off, we race to win. If we win, that takes care of the point situation. He rolls off 6th, Dylan. Should be a good run for the Jimmy Johnson.
And Parker, after missing last week at Daytona due to a positive COVID-19 test, Austin Dillon is back at home, back in the 3-car this weekend. Team says Austin feels great. He's been working out, ready to go for 311 miles this weekend. They don't have great numbers here at Dover, but feel like they've been rolling off the truck really well all throughout this season. A lot of work to do, though, Dave, as they start 32nd.
Chase Elliott solved a slump issue last week by winning at the road course at Daytona. But, of course, that was a road course. The year back to the ovals now here at Dover, a place where he's run well in the past. In fact, in 8 starts, he has an 8.6 average finish. That's best on the field. They'll see if they can turn around their oval track program today, Rick.
Thanks, Dave. A lot of courses were learned right there from Dave Burns. Now time for the command to start the engines. The star of The Sleepover, which is available now on Netflix, actress Malin Ackerman gives the command.
Hello, NASCAR fans. Malin Ackerman here, and I have a new film called The Sleepover. It's a family adventure jam-packed with action and laughs, and you can watch it now on Netflix. Speaking of action, let's get this race started. Drivers, start your engines.
Crank when you're ready. All right, there's command. Go ahead, fire it up when you're ready. I'll let you know when they will.
The engines have come to life, and now drivers getting ready to take on the Monster Mile. We know how important it is to come in first. That's why first responder calls take priority on the network public safety agencies rely on. NASCAR is brought to you by Verizon.
I've had to evolve as a race car driver.
It's back-to-back for Denny Hamlin.
To be a championship driver, you have to have confidence.
Kevin Harvick will become a 3-time winner of the Brickyard 400.
I enjoy the process of being good at something.
They have done it again here. Great season continues for Denny Hamlin.
Nobody's been able to touch the closer. Kevin Harvick took command.
They've done it again. He's done it again. Harvick is going to sweep Michigan. He wins again.
I love to see the emotion that comes from a group of people that have been in battle together and beat everybody else.
For the 5th time this season, Denny Hamlin is a winner.
We're having a fantastic year. I just feel like I'm in my wheelhouse right now.
You know, everybody is very satisfied with the things that we're doing and the accomplishments that we have.
Hell yeah, boys! Awesome. Hell yeah. Great job. Awesome job.
The 2 most dominant drivers of the 2020 campaign.
They have been dominant. Let's take a look at the starting grid for today's Cup Series race, brought to you by Drydene. Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin will make up the front row. Again, the formula put together by the finish position from last week, owner points, as well as the fastest lap from last week. Let's hear from rows 6 through 10.
Alex Bowman, Tucson, Arizona.
Chris Buescher, Prosper, Texas. Eric Jones, Byron, Michigan.
Matt DiBenedetto, Grass Valley, California.
Michael McDowell, Glendale, Arizona. Tyler Reddick, Corning, California.
Eric Almirola, Tampa, Florida.
Christopher Bell, Norman, Oklahoma.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Olive Branch, Mississippi.
Ryan Blaney, Hartford, Ohio. And let's dial up the driver of the 24, William Byron, on the radio now.
Hey, William Byron, it's Dale Jr. You got your ears on?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, buddy. How you like Dover, and what are the challenges for this racetrack?
Really just trying to stay out of the rubber. There's lots of challenges for this place, so just trying to understand how the track changes as the race goes on.
All right, buddy. We'll be watching you. Have a great race today. Thanks for talking to us.
All right, thanks, man.
And again, no practice, no qualifying, so this is the first time they're on the track. This is how they will check to find out what pit road speed is. So they will be setting their tacks as they work their way onto pit road now. We're going to ride along with a few different drivers. Let's check in with them.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick riding down pit road with the Ford Performance Cam. We'll have a great shot all day from Kevin's car. Kurt Busch, another great shot. Monster Energy Cam.
Jimmy Johnson has the Chevrolet Cam. Also in the interior of that car, passenger high reverse. We can see Jimmy wheeling on it all day long. Martin Truex Jr. has the Toyota Cam. And he also has that same camera from the interior of the car, so we can see the driver working at this tough racetrack. Here it is.
All right, Junior mentioned tough racetrack. Steve, break down the race for us.
Well, it's tough, and it's very unique. 1 mile high bank concrete surface, Dover International Speedway. The Monster Mile, as I mentioned, 1 mile. The corners, 24 degrees of banking. That's what gets most of the conversation. But, Rick, the straightaways at 9 degrees of banking are absolutely perhaps more dangerous. If you have an accident, it sweeps you to the inside of this racetrack. You're almost guaranteed to hit a wall if you have any sort of issue. But a shorter race today, only 311 laps with 70 laps for stage 1, 115 laps on that middle stage, the final stage 126 laps. So we're going to have to see a pit stop in both the second and the third stage because of the fuel windows.
All right, want to get a few updates before the green flag flies. Let's start with Parker.
Well, Rick, Martin Truex Jr. is starting third, and that has been a finishing position for him that's been quite prevalent as of late. He's finished third the last 5 races in a row. That's a 1 in 1 million chance of pulling that off. And when I asked his crew chief, James Small, about that, he said, you know, it's a cool stat, but mostly we're disappointed. We felt like a lot of those races we could have won, Dylan.
Parker, consistency has been key for Brad Keselowski this year. Has a career-high 16 top 10s through 23 races. That's all well and good, but leaves more to be desired. Crew chief Jeremy Bolins is pleased but not satisfied. They want their 4th win of the year this weekend at Dover. Dave?
Denny Hamlin's already had 5 wins this year. When I checked in with crew chief Chris Gabehart this morning, he said, you know, having 2 double headers in the last 3 weeks, this one might be a little tamer than Michigan. I said, in what way? It's the Monster. He goes, well, the restarts, they won't be bump drafting as hard like they were at Michigan. To me, and Chris and I laughed about it, that remains to be seen. Every restart should be exciting today, as is most every lap at the Monster Mile, Rick.
Yeah, we're looking forward to not only restarts, but, as you mentioned, every lap. What will happen? And take a look at this. Our buddy, Mike Bagley, the bag man, is going to throw the green flag. He's the honorary starter for today's race. We've worked with Mike many times, especially on the road courses. He's been able to fill in and be a part of our team, so look at him. Look at him. He's an experienced flag man.
Let's see this form. Let's see what kind of form he's got.
He's like, all right, are we going to be on time?
He's got the hat on backwards. He knows.
Don't want to lose his watch.
Yep.
We love the bag man, and great honor for him to be able to throw the green flag for this first race.
What is it? Checkered flags, black flags, that's what they give Monday morning on the morning drive. Well, focus here, folks, because if this could be your black flag moment. You never know.
Don't drop it. Don't drop it.
And getting ready for the first of the doubleheader for the Cup Series. Great job, Bagman.
Look at that jump.
Yeah, Chase Elliott, he saw the flag right away.
Wow. I'm not sure I've seen a jump that big. You know, that is incredible.
Sorting it out back here, William Byron a little bit. Oh,
the 2-car.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski had to catch it as well.
I think that's something we can expect, guys. Remember, super low downforce on these cars. Last year, they ran high downforce cars aren't going to have near the grip they had last year. A big adjustment for these drivers.
What a great save by Brad Keselowski, total pro. Not only gathering control of his car, but staying out of the door of the 24 right there. That's probably the hardest part about that. Your car's wrecking. Sometimes you just go up there and take that guy with you. That's a big moment. You can hear the 4-car, Kevin Harvick lifting off the gas, allowing Brad time to control it.
Think about that. From that 24 car, William Byron, he's one of those bubble guys racing to get into playoffs. So, game of inches could have easily been taken out right there early in the race.
Logano creeping ahead of Jimmy Johnson, that Ally 48. And right behind him, William Byron. We mentioned the bubble battle. Those two right now are 16th and 17th.
How does he race his teammate? Jimmy's really good here, we know that, but Jimmy's the veteran on his way out. Williams, the young guy on his way in, trying to make a name for himself.
We talked about that low downforce package, Steve, and I think that is a little bit of an advantage to Jimmy Johnson. He loves to drive a race car at Dover with as low a rear grip as possible so that it can point. And with this low downforce, it's a little bit easier to make that happen than it would have been with that high downforce.
Well, it's less downforce, and oh, by the way, full power, 750 horsepower under the hood. When you think about Jimmy Johnson and those numbers, everybody talks about his 11 wins. Well, we forget the guy on the box for those 11 wins, he's crew chief and the guy out the rear bumper of Jimmy Johnson. Chad Knaus, the crew chief for William Byron. So it's such a great combination. Jimmy, the driver, and Chad, the crew chief, have been split up and now both battling for that final playoff spot.
Parker.
Well, Rick, you know, we look at Jimmy Johnson trying to hold off the teammate there, William Byron. I was talking to his crew chief, Cliff Daniels, and he said how this race is really, you know, going back and looking at the old trends. You know, right in 2018 when they last had this package, but all the way back to 2014 to identify the things that Jimmy wants inside that race car, because a lot of these teams, with this change
we got a wreck on the back stretch. One car spinning around on the back straightaway. Kurt Busch.
That's Kurt Busch. They got into the wall, and you see all the damage to the left front.
Heavy damage.
No damage.
That's going to be a day ender, I think, for Kurt Busch. Shocking.
We're done.
He was one of the drivers I had circled.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Think about that, too, guys. He's going to learn nothing. All these other drivers he's competing against are going to learn so much more because they're going to get this race in. He's done for the day.
So let's take a look right here. We have the 20 underneath him, the 1 up the banking in the second lane. Is there contact?
Yeah, just a little bit of contact from the 20 car. It looked like the 1 might have got out of the gas just a little bit.
And here's that straightaway we talked about in the race breakdown, Rick, 9 degrees.
There's huge damage to the left rear quarter panel of the 20 car from, I'm guessing, the 88.
Still there, bumper.
Right here. All these guys checking up.
Bumper. Barely there.
Yeah, the 88 got a bunch of damage to the right front.
Yeah, the 88's right front. I didn't see the quarter panel, but the right front corner of the 88 is destroyed. Yeah, that's day over for Kurt Busch. Let's take a look at the 88. That's the one you were talking about. I think he's on pit road.
Look at the quarter panel.
Oh, boy. Yeah, the 20 left rear is destroyed. The right front of the 88.
My bad, man.
Rick, it's the monster. We are not making up how difficult this track is.
8 laps. We're 8 laps in.
Hey, guys, this is the shortest race we've had here in forever. The intensity is right off the bat. It started right now. Only 311 laps. That intensity has created a caution super early.
Well, Eric Jones didn't give him a lot of room there, and that contact early on now has Eric Jones seeing this on his left rear quarter panel, and as well as the 88 of Alex Bowman has damage to his right front quarter panel.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that audio again of the 1 car through that corner if he was out of the throttle just a little bit, because it looked like the 20 got into it quickly, like the 1 had lifted for losing traction off the corner. And you got to push hard and really try to get the air off the guy in front of you and get right up to that back bumper and be aggressive. And sometimes if that guy lifts, nothing you can do.
So early on, the monster has already attacked. Listen to the throttle of the 1 as he's coming out of the turn here.
Now watch his eyes. Shut his eyes right before he hits the wall.
Yeah, they probably pop out of his forehead if he didn't. It's hitting that inside wall as hard as you do. Watch these guys use this choose rule. You see that little triangle on the front straightaway, that box? They can't touch that box. That's a penalty.
That's the way they're lining up for the restart here. Again, there is a competition caution at lap 25. 10 laps already in. This is the 11th lap now complete. And Chase Elliott again with a great start. Denny Hamlin trying to hold off the 14 of Clint Boyer running in the third position. He'll hold on to second.
So these cars have a little more power than the Xfinity cars. The outside line on the Xfinity race earlier was really the line to be. But why is he getting such a great launch? It's because the inside line has to anticipate his launch, and literally when you try to go to the gas, as Denny Hamlin does, it just spins the tires. You can't get any traction. You can't get going. Leader just drives away.
Kevin Harvick, winningest driver right now in 2020. And right behind him, William Byron in 24.
Yeah, Williams around the 48 car now, in position in front of him. That's important. You want to stay in front of that 48 car this whole race. Not allow Jimmy to point his way into this playoff and knock the 24 out of the playoffs. That's tough, though, man, when you're battling your teammates. You want to be able to lean on your teammates. Use them. Have them help you throughout the year, not race against them, not battle them for the playoffs.
And we talked to Jimmy Johnson earlier this week, and he made the comment, he said, I'd rather win. If I was between making the playoffs and winning, I'm going to choose winning. I want to get back to victory lane. My fans want to see me there. I want to be there. This team deserves to be there.
Yeah, that's an easy decision. Going to victory lane is such a great feeling. And he wants that one more time. He wants to feel that one more time.
From a guy that's won 7 championships, I would argue that going into the playoffs without a win, while he does have a chance to win a championship, he can't feel very good about his chances going up against the likes of, say, Kevin Harvick or Denny Hamlin.
Kyle Busch back down here at 14th, trying to work himself up through the field. So he's looking on the outside, trying to see if there's grip there. Typically that grip on the outside, well, he's making that move.
He sure did.
Yeah, really good job, especially this early in the race and this early in the run, to be able to get that run on the outside. That's pretty impressive. Normally it takes a little bit of rubber getting built into that outside line before it works.
Think about it. You know, we're running this doubleheader, but we also had the Xfinity race right before this. So this track is ready. It's primed with that outer groove, that third groove worked in from the Xfinity cars. So you can go right up there probably a lot sooner than you typically would on any given Sunday.
We see the 21 of Matty D there getting passed by both the 10 and the 47. Now he's going to have to play some defense on, I think that's the 34 of McDowell right behind him. The 21, we talked so much about Jimmy Johnson and William Byron because they are on that bubble line. Well, old Matt DiBenedetto is anything but safe. Currently 15th at only plus 30. Daytona next week. You get a different winner this week, or no one wants to be 16th. Why 16th is better than 17th with Daytona coming? I mean, truthfully, anyone can win when you go to the super speedway.
Yeah, we're watching, or we see 34 in the picture there, and we talked a lot about Michael McDowell last week. We knew going into last week he would be a one that would run in the top 10, probably top 5. Sure enough, great finish for Michael McDowell. Actually, top 20 runs, 12 of the 17 races since we've returned from COVID. What an impressive run Michael McDowell has been able to do in that 34. And just in front of him, the 21, Matt DiBenedetto. Dave?
And Rick, what a cool conversation we had with Matt this week about the possibility of making the playoffs. In fact, he was on the way to the gym with his wife Taylor. As you see this battle up front, Kevin Harvick moving in. He was on his way to the gym, and we asked him about it, and Taylor could hear the conversation. And he looked over at her, showed us her on the phone, and she said, I'm tearing up now just thinking about it. Matt DiBenedetto's come a long way and hopes to make the playoff. It would be very emotional.
Yeah, it's been a great journey for Matt DiBenedetto and, of course, his wife Taylor. They have been working so hard to see if Matt could fulfill the dreams that he's had. And sure enough, you know, running for Wood Brothers, sitting in a position where he could potentially make the playoffs. Yeah, Taylor got emotional, and it's acceptable. I mean, it's something that you would almost expect because of the journey that they've been on.
Yeah, the spouses live it with you. There's no question. They're right there with you all along the way.
Man, this 19 car is struggling right here, trying to get a hold of the track. Dave.
You see Eric Jones there battling underneath Corey LaJoie. That 20 car back on track. And now just think what's at stake for him. He's just been told that he's not coming back to JGR. Talked to his crew chief, Chris Gale, this morning. He said, we're just trying to find our way back. Last year, we had a total of 12 finishes of worse than 20th in the whole year. This year, we've almost equaled that in only 22 races. We're fast. We're just not getting the results. And it's been another down start to the day here for Jones.
A down start. When I look at that damage, Jeff, my big concern for the 20 is can they get fuel in that race car? Anytime I see damage on the left rear quarter panel, maybe not a big aerodynamic disadvantage, but fueling could become an issue.
Yeah, I talked to Eric Jones actually just yesterday, and he was telling me that there was some opportunities ahead of him. You know, as we just talked about, I see Kevin Harvick pushing Joey Logano, making Joey Logano loose, trying to make this pass. But Eric Jones feeling pretty good about his opportunities ahead of him for next year, but still a lot of work to do.
We saw as they were working their way, Eric Jones, we saw him go by the 32. Corey LaJoie and Go Fast Racing. It was announced this week that Corey LaJoie wouldn't be back with Go Fast Racing in 2021. So now all of a sudden he becomes a free agent.
Caution's out.
And we got a caution. That's for the competition caution. We were expecting that at lap 25.
Yeah, talking about Corey LaJoie, he and I had a long conversation this morning, and he's excited about his opportunities, talking to a lot of people. Feels like he's going to have a chance as well to get in a little better equipment. Loves this car, loves this team, appreciates the opportunity they've given him, but feels like he's going to have a shot to be able to get in a little better equipment to show what he can do, and he's really excited about that. He has supreme confidence in himself and believes if he's given the chance, he can show that to the world.
You got to be pretty confident to have your face on the hood of the car, and he's done that a couple times, right?
Hey, I've not seen a reason not to give Corey LaJoie a shot. I like what he does on the racetrack, and perhaps even more importantly, not to take away from his driving skills. I love what he does for his partners. Go back to Watkins Glen, he had Samaritan's feet on the car. Multiple times he's had partners on his car, and just naturally through social media, I hear a lot about his partnerships. That tells me he's doing a good job, Junior.
Yeah, I think the one thing is he's took a page out of Matt Benedetto's book and made this announcement early. He either has plans already or he's trying to make people know, hey, I'm available.
Also, I want to shout out his car owner too, Archie St. Hilaire. He's done a great job, and he appreciates his drivers getting an opportunity like Corey may be getting. Parker.
And Kevin Harvick is really liking the opportunity inside that 4 car. Now driving from 9th up to 4th, just a little loose on entry. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires and air pressure adjustment for Kevin Harvick, Dylan.
In the center of your screen, William Byron pits from the 7th spot, reporting he's just a little bit tight from the center off. 4 tires and fuel. Doesn't look like any chassis adjustments for now. Just 4 tires and fuel for Byron, Dave.
Leader Chase Elliott will take 4 Goodyear tires and some fuel and a chassis adjustment. He says if I try to push through the turn, I can't get it. It's too tight. He's going to lose the race off of pit road. So strategy being played here, guys.
2 tires for Logano, Blaney, and Almirola, making up multiple spots. And then Hamlin dropping a couple as well. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR, perfect for race fans. Valspar, available at Lowe's. And by Toyota. NASCAR Drive, that's your live race day companion. You can always follow your favorite drivers with the high-definition in-car cameras. All you have to do is visit NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the mobile app today.
All right, Rick, we talked about the length of the race at only 311 laps, and mistakes will be magnified. Well, we saw Kurt Busch's mistake or accident. Well, here's another issue on pit road. The 4 of Kevin Harvick comes to pit road. Watch that rear tire changer. The jack gets dropped instantly. The hand goes up. Nope. Come on back. Loose left rear lug nuts. They had to come back down pit road a second time, Parker, to tighten them up.
Right, and that is filling Chris McMullen for Daniel Smith, who actually got an infection from a suspected spider bite, so he was staying at home this weekend. This pit crew has been so strong all year, but that change, they're going to have to rally back for that one, Steve.
Yeah, the 4 car, you know, 55 or 50% of the teams in the Cup Series are doing double duty. They're doing Xfinity cars that ran earlier today. The 4 teams, one of those teams that is not. So they have no reps this morning in the Xfinity race, where a lot of these teams on pit road have already pitted cars today.
Yeah, you look at their numbers, right? When you look at their average for the season, Kevin Harvick not only is dominating on the racetrack, but they're dominating on pit road. So, Dale, I think you bring up a great point, right? Would the reps have helped them? Maybe not. Then Parker brings up they had to make a change. So it's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. A busy weekend at Dover. You two both know how tight the pit road is for the driver. Well, for the crew chief, I have anxiety because I'm afraid you're going to have damages. Not a lot of room for our teams. It's hard to focus and do your job. Definitely caught the timing of the 4 there.
Once again, the choose rule, that's cone or the arrow is 2 seconds past the finish line, and so they have about 2 seconds to make their decision.
And the top 5 guys here on lining up, they stayed out, and then behind them the next 3 did only 2 tires. So the first guy on 4 tires is the 11 car, Denny Hamlin.
You're not making me feel any better
He's
about
back
this.
there a ways.
Not making me feel any better, Jeff.
We saw no tires work well in the Xfinity race for a few laps. 40 to go in this stage.
At 3 on the outside, Austin Dillon again back from missing a race last week after testing positive for COVID-19. And the field approaching the Geico restart zone.
Great restart from that inside line. That outside's been dominant so far all day today. And again, the 3 car takes that outside and uses it. Look at Denny Hamlin, 3 wide around the top. Big momentum from that 11 car.
Making those 4 tires work for him as he's now in the tire tracks of the 22 of Logano.
Look at Blaney in that red car about in 10th place. He's really struggling.
He is.
Chase Elliott around the outside, Clint Boyer on the inside.
William Byron's back here as well as Brad Keselowski fighting with Blaney.
The 10 car on the top lane in front of Chase Elliott. Eric Almirola got really loose getting in the corner. Oh, a lot of contact.
Heavy contact made there between Chase Elliott and Clint Boyer.
Yeah, Chase got into the right rear quarter panel of Clint. Clint into the left rear quarter panel of the 10 car. A lot happening right there. Those guys lucky to get away. See the damage here, though.
Not seeing a lot of tire smoke.
There's a little damage, though, on that 9 car's left front. He's just down the track just a little bit. Turns the 14 up into the 10 car. Here's that Denny Hamlin move I was talking about on the restart. Look at this, just jumps to the top. You mentioned it, Jeff, the 12 car struggling a little bit right there. Denny able to take advantage.
Denny shooting right on by.
Goes around the 6 car right there. Taking another position, moving forward into the 5th position, trying to chase down Joey Logano. Joey moving forward as well on this restart.
We saw the strategy call by Austin Dillon. No tires, who continues to lead. The 42 of Kenseth in 2nd and Buescher in 3rd. Talk so much about Jimmy Johnson's experience here at Dover. Well, how about the 42 of Kenseth? I was wondering to see how he was going to end up on this lower downforce package. He's tied with Jimmy Johnson with active drivers. 17 top 5s in his career. Burton, I know you and him have had some great battles here at Dover.
Yeah, we have. And I was thinking the same thing. I think with this low downforce in Dover, this is a place where Matt Kenseth can kind of get his feet underneath him, right? No practices really hurt him. But coming here where he has so much confidence and so much experience, I think it's a place where he can excel. Dave, you got something on Chase?
Yeah, Chase radioed right after that. Yes, it is rubbing. The crew talking back and forth. We don't see smoke, but sometimes, guys, you know, you can tell inside that race car if it's a potential harm. And remember why that happened? He restarted 10th after taking on 4 tires where there were a number of cars that played strategy and won the race off of pit road.
Yeah, Junior, you don't feel that rub. You smell that rub. You smell rubber. You just get a little hint of a smell, and even if they can't see it, sometimes you can smell it, and that makes you really nervous as a driver.
Yeah, that left front, it's got the tire mark, or got the tire letters rubbed off of it, and you see it's kind of split that fender, knocked that fender in right around the 12 o'clock. They'll be working on that to try to get that off the tire.
take a look at today's Xfinity fastest lap, and it is the 9 of Chase Elliott. It happened on the 3rd lap before, obviously, that contact. How about Austin Dillon, though? 34th lap. He's the 3rd fastest lap turn. And Austin Dillon right now is checking out on Matt Kenseth. Dillon.
Well, Rick, we've talked so many times this year about how RCR as a whole has just improved so much. A lot of places they haven't been great at in the past, like Dover, they're much better at this year. Justin Alexander, the crew chief for this 3-car Austin Dillon, he kind of hinted that that's part and due to the relationship amongst he and Randall Burnett, who's the crew chief for the other RCR car with Tyler Reddick. A smaller team, both of those guys work really well together, really closely together, allows them to make some changes on the fly a little bit quicker. So while some of the other Chevy teams throughout the rest of the season, throughout the summer months, have maybe struggled to keep pace, RCR has kept pace, and they're doing a nice job right now as Austin leads here early on.
Watch these guys, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Denny on the bottom. Up the racetrack, trying to get rear grip. Gets into the left rear of Joey Logano. It's just good hard racing right there. I don't think either one of those drivers will be upset because nothing bad happened. Denny lifted right there, got back in line, then went back and battled again.
I don't know, man.
You wouldn't like that?
I bet Joey's upset. Denny drove by both of them, though, moved into 2nd place, put his sights on that 3-car out front.
It doesn't make it quite as bad as when they hit you and don't pass you, right? If when they hit you and pass you, that's what gets you fired up.
Yeah.
Or did me anyway. Of course, that explains a lot, too.
Yeah, right behind Logano, Clint Boyer. Guy who hasn't really had such a great season. I'm sure he's unhappy and wanting more. Having a great run today. Moved up into that 5th position, passing Chris Buescher a few laps ago.
Clint's good at this racetrack. 2 straight top 10s. Always seems to run well at Dover.
Well, you just mentioned the name. Chris Buescher had that strategy. He's fallen back a little bit. He's now back to the 6th position. Luke Lambert and Chris just trying to find a little bit to go their way this year. Had a great run last week at the Daytona Road Course, finishing 5th. Well, this is the guy that has 0 stage points in 12 stages here at Dover. So this is not one of his favorite racetracks, but somehow he's got himself up in the 7th position. Momentum, we talk about it all the time, Rick. Confidence and momentum. Well, can he take that good run last week, push it into confidence, and use that momentum here at Dover?
I love that shot. These cars are so fast here.
A lot of horsepower, a lot of speed. And of course, low downforce. So the perfect formula, perfect recipe for Miles the Monster to grab on to some of these cars, and already he has been ruthless. Just 17 to go in stage 1. NASCAR Cup Series Drydene 311 from Dover International Speedway. Aero coverage brought to you by Geico. Again, during the break, we saw the 3 of Austin Dillon stay out, and he has pulled away from the field. He's somewhat dominating, but on pit road, Kevin Harvick had an issue with the left rear. They had to come back onto pit road. Parker, it seems like they're rebounding nicely.
Rick, he is absolutely flying, up 16 positions since the restart when he had that issue in pit road and had to go all the way to the back. And to think, you know, a year ago we were here and drivers said they couldn't pass because of the high downforce. We went to the low downforce, put Kevin Harvick in the back of the field, the fast car. He's proven you can pass. He's running all over this racetrack.
I saw that graphic. Brad Keselowski also moving forward 13 spots. He's up into 3rd place. He's passed his teammate Joey Logano, Clint Boyer, Kenseth, all those guys. Look at that climb through the field. What a fast car for this, too.
And Denny Hamlin talked about Austin Dillon kind of checking out. Denny Hamlin's running him down, only a half second behind him now. There he is. Good battle for the stage win. Denny Hamlin could use those stage points. One more stage point would be a big deal for him, but also for Austin Dillon. Austin's going to fight him hard for that 1 point.
Now, Austin has a win already, and because of the protocol, he did test positive for COVID-19. Wasn't able to race last week, but will have a waiver because of the situation. So even though he's not going to race in every race, with his win, he's still going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, 238 race consecutive streak snapped for the Austin Dillon. That had to be tough to set up.
So Denny's going to run this bottom, but he was running the high side. trying to get that run off the corner. He runs the bottom, rolls around the bottom, closes the gap. But when he gets up to behind his 3 car, he has to go where it is not. So he's going to go a little bit higher here, turn that car down, try to get back down to the bottom of the racetrack and make a gain right here all the way down next straightaway.
You also wonder, too, Junior, also wonder, as he's making those adjustments, if he doesn't have that high downforce package in his mind, right? You're not quite as affected by the car in front of you with this package than you were with the other package.
There you see it, the big gains he makes as he turns that car down the hill. Up the hill, he's going to turn the car aggressively here. Works a little bit better for him, I think, in turn 3 and 4. Seems to follow that high line all the way around 1 and 2, but right here, he's going to turn down a little bit.
Austin's going to get hung up right here. Won't be able to turn, let the wheel go.
There's the battle for the lead, and it's over.
Yeah, just that little bit of lap traffic really hurt Austin. Even though he really wasn't close to that lap traffic, it blocked the lane he really wanted to be in.
Guys, it's 4 fresh tires versus the old tires, too, right? I mean, that has to come into play also.
New leader, still
20 lap fresher tires definitely are helping Denny Hamlin. But bravo to the 3. Crew Chief Justin Alexander to stay out. Great call. Got the track position, Dave. With only 10 laps to go in the stage, still running second.
How good is this 11 team right now, Denny Hamlin? They just continue to pound away on this field. I asked Chris Gabehart about motivating his team right now when they seem to be hitting on all cylinders. And he said, I have a philosophy that I've had for a long time. It becomes not results-based when you ask each individual to compete against themselves. Make your part better, and the team will be better, but it's not based on results. Right now, the results are good, and the individual efforts are good as well.
Martin Truex Jr. trying to track down this 14 car. Lap traffic cost him a little bit of time there. 14's trying to track down the 22.
Yeah, right now Boyer has the 5th spot. Logano is 4th, Keselowski 3rd, Austin Dillon now back to 2nd.
One driver I keep trying to find, Kyle Busch. He's all the way back in 16th. Just nothing working for that 18 car.
That 14 got through the corner really well there. Got off the corner. Clint Boyer right to the back of that 22. 22 up the middle of the racetrack, diamonds the corner. Clint rolls right around that bottom, trying to keep that left front tire in that clean patch of asphalt, patch of concrete. That's a little more grip there. You can keep that left front super low. 14 gets a little loose there.
Look at this battle right here.
How about Harvick on the outside? Not even a battle. He just drives right by everyone.
Yeah, Kenseth's struggling. Remember, Kenseth is also one of those drivers that stayed out on tires. You see right there, see how loose he was in that 42 car, just no grip on corner entry.
Harvick continuing to climb. He is already up to 7th.
Oh, big tire.
And yeah, tire rub to 77.
Like
Reed Sorensen slow on the racetrack. Smoke coming out the back.
Maybe a mechanical issue.
Yeah, I don't see any damage to the body, so I think if it is tire, it's because something in the suspension is broken. As much as he's slowing down, I wonder if it's not a
all lined up.
drive line issue.
Just hold it up.
Now the 20
got away up the track. Yeah, Steve. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there.
I wasn't sure if that was on purpose or not.
Under 5 laps to go. It's stage 1. Logano a little bit loose.
Listen to the throttle here, trying to work that throttle. Steering down here in 3 and 4.
These two battling for the 5th spot. Didn't take long. Martin Truex Jr. grabs it.
Joe Logano on 2 tires right here. Also, everybody else around him is on 4.
Yeah, you think you're loose with a good left rear tire. Try an older one. Let's take a look at that 22 as we see the 19 saw on the wheel. Kind of goes in the middle of the racetrack, and whoa, just a big slide, guys, all the way up the racetrack, gathers it in. We wondered why it was up that high. It was a big correction. Big save. Oh, Truex. How about Truex? He's correcting it as well.
This is exactly what the Xfinity race looked like.
New tire compound Goodyear brought. I talked to several team engineers, crew chiefs. They're all nervous with this tire about being loose getting into the corner. Let's go listen to some in-car radio.
I think we're the best car here right now, but we need to keep working on it. Make sure you tell me exactly what you want here spring. When I run the very bottom, I get pretty snappy on the exit. I'm a little loose into the center in the long run, but it ain't bad.
That's what, hey, Steve, if you're a crew chief, don't you love it when your driver, it says, I'm a little loose right at the beginning of the center, but not bad. I mean, that opens your door up to being able to do more things to your car.
It's great feedback as we see 1 lap to go in this stage. I also love Chris Gabehart being honest. I think we're okay right now, perhaps the best car right now, but he has seen that improvement you just talked about in Kevin Harvick with positions, Rick. He sees there are cars they are not battling right now. They will be later, so reminding his very experienced driver, keep talking to me, tell me what you need.
Denny Hamlin is going to grab his 6th stage win of 2020. He wins stage 1 of the first race of the doubleheader from the Monster Mile.
That Austin Dillon, when all that pit stop sequence started, he was running 18th. Stayed on the racetrack, finished 2nd.
Keselowski, Boyer.
Jimmy Johnson.
Jr., yes, Jimmy Johnson.
Grabs a few points here. William Byron not in that top 10.
And the gap now 6 points separating the 24 and 48 at the bubble. So those points very important. Denny Hamlin worked his way all the way up to the front, stayed there and got the stage 1 win, and his fans are cheering him on. We know how important it is to come in first. That's why first responder calls take priority on the network public safety agencies rely on. NASCAR is brought to you by Verizon. So you get points at the end of each stage. Top 10 that finish go from 10 points for winning all the way down to 1 for finishing in the 10th position. And we mentioned how important points are. Well, Jimmy Johnson is in the top 10 gaining points. He was on the outside running in the 17th position overall points wise. And so he has gained some points on William Byron.
We saw all the cars on pit road and drivers. We've talked about how challenging this pit road can be. Well, look right here how tight it gets on exit. These crew members on the right-hand side need to be careful because that's 3 wide. Austin Dillon does a nice job just getting out of the gas, keeping his right front fender on. And here's a look on board from Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, if Joey Logano pulls out just a little bit sooner, that becomes a whole lot worse as they'd be 4 wide. A lot of contact, but it's tight. It's tough. Pit road congested. Even the stalls very short. Hard to get the work done.
It's one of the most difficult pit roads for a driver. It's really tight, the entire length down pit road.
So Jeff, you and I had this conversation. You said, man, the William Byron lost a lot of spots on pit road, but actually he had lost quite a few before coming to pit road. Pitted from the 21st position, came off from pit road in 26th. Chad Knaus major adjustments, turning round wrenches in both sides, a rubber in the right rear. He sees those points that Jimmy Johnson got in the stage, Rick. Chad Knaus, a veteran, making big swings early in a shorter race.
As they're running, Jimmy Johnson is in the playoffs by 1 point over William Byron. But again, every position on the racetrack counts as a point, and they're fighting for every spot they can get.
You saw him to choose Truex Jr. in 2nd. Did not take the inside line. He's taking the outside line, basically lining up in 4th behind his teammate because he feels like that outside line will launch better. We watched this in the Xfinity race. The inside line had a lot of trouble getting going. Interesting to see those guys make those choices for that choose rule.
I was just mentioning, look at this right here. That's a lot of turns. Rubber already in the right rear, coming over to the left side. Tire goes on. Big adjustments for Chad Knaus. We're going to crank on this wedge wrench. 2, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to quit counting because it's a lot. Hey, listen, we talked about the length. This guy knows. We talked about Jimmy's 11 wins. Chad Knaus has 11 here. He knows this track is a monster, and you have to attack it with adjustments. You can't just leave your driver out there fighting an ill-handling race car. Junior, I swear, I made those type of adjustments for you too. Just they didn't always work.
Field approaching the Geico restart zone, back under the throttle, and we'll see how they do on that outside line. Denny Hamlin, Mark Truex Jr. working the high line, and look at this, Mark Truex Jr. with the momentum. He'll surge ahead. He's got 2nd.
And Junior, you called it where that 19 lined up. Looks like the top worked.
Yeah, I think the inside line most often has trouble spinning the tires down there, and it bottles up everybody down there. Great choice for that 19 team. Might not work every time.
Have to let you know the 42 speeding on entrance to pit road. They were in the 13th position, but obviously speeding penalty drops them to the back.
Jimmy Johnson just getting by Joey Logano. That's for 6th place. And look at Kevin Harvick. That early trouble, he's all the way back.
18 and 10 car had a little bit of a race there behind these guys.
Yeah, we saw the 18 shoot up the racetrack, and now the 10 of Eric Almirola trying to take advantage of it.
47 Stenhouse having a good day. Let's go back and look at that battle as they're still going at it. Kyle got up the racetrack, and Eric kind of drove it underneath him. It took the air off Kyle's quarter panel. They're still battling.
Yeah, Eric's trying to get that spot, but Kyle's not going to let him have it.
That's something you just don't see with the package they ran here last year. You can hardly make someone loose the way that Eric made Kyle loose right there.
Whoa! Thought that 18 was going to get the fence there, pushing hard, using every inch of this racetrack to try to hold that position, and he does.
So Kyle Busch now holding on to the 9th spot. Almirola running 10th. It's Hamlin.
There you go.
There you go.
Keep packing air on him.
That means keep getting up to that back bumper and disturbing that car, just like this right here. Keep trying to get to it. See how it upsets the 18 car? It takes, as soon as the 10 gets to that back bumper, it takes any air that's on the spoiler of that 18 car off of it. 18 can't get the gas down.
And you're watching Kyle Busch. He's not won a race in a long time. That's the winningest driver in the last decade right there. He's not won. You know how bad he wants it.
His last win was for the championship. He won last year at Homestead. That's his last win. He has been winless in 2020.
And I would make an argument that they weren't running well before that. They really struggled halfway through last year. They were not running well, and that's continued into this year. They did an incredible job of winning that championship last year. Dylan.
Jeff, talking with Adam Stevens, crew chief for this car, just kind of asked him how he stays motivated or how the guys stay motivated despite all this bad luck they've had recently. And Adam kind of made the point, listen, I'm not a rah-rah guy. I don't need to really get these guys pumped up. They stay pumped up. They just need a chance. We just need to be in a position one of these weeks to capitalize and do what we know we can do to find ourselves in victory lane. So despite all this bad luck and having not won yet this year, the confidence is still high in this 18 camp. They just need to find a way to get up front and stay up front here over the course of one of these races.
The concern I have, Rick, is we just saw the graphic, right? The latest he's ever won in a season goes all the way back to 2005, race 25.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't win one of these races here at Dover, he set a new personal record that he doesn't want to set. And we saw the playoff points as well with only one. So even if they completely correct and right the ship, they just are such a deficit heading into the playoffs. I tell you, NASCAR has this point system right. The regular season, there is no home field advantage like other sports. So what do by racing well in the regular season? You fill that bucket. It helps you advance through the playoffs.
Dave.
Joey Logano runs 7th. They made a small air pressure adjustment that last time, but there was some discussion about the tires.
The tires look like wore out, or not terrible. I mean, you can tell the lefts were worn, but wasn't like there was corners or anything. Okay, felt like it. And 4.
You hear the chuckle from him. Teams are downloading data right now. This is a different tire for them here at Dover this year, provided by Goodyear. So they're working through it, gathering all the data they can, and they get to apply it again tomorrow, guys.
Yeah, doubleheader. Again, over 600 miles, 600 laps will be run here over the weekend. This first race, 311.
Hey, we got a chance to ride along with the best ever to do it right here. Let's take a ride. Let's listen to his throttle, watch his wheel. Listen to him when he goes to the throttle. How he goes to the throttle in the middle of the corner to carry corner speed. Then he actually comes back off the throttle. A lot of drivers over the years that would love to have this ride. Learn from Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. I think this is what makes him so good here is his ability to run part throttle. He loves for the throttle to turn the race car.
Right in front of him, Austin Dillon doing a great job in 5th place. That strategy call to stay out in the first segment, giving him all that track position. It's paying off right now. Parker.
Well, Dale Steve was talking about Jimmy using part throttles instead of the corners here, and it's one of the things that's made him so good over the years here is he talks about his dirt background and running those off-road stadium trucks. We had to use the the pedals to turn the truck and to manipulate the car, and that's what he does here so well. He uses the brake, the throttle in unorthodox ways to get that car to do what he wants. And so when they went to slower downforce package this year, Chris Daniels told me he was very excited thinking about being able to use those pedals like he has in years past.
Way up the racetrack there for Jimmy Johnson.
That's what this track provides, especially with this package. With the low downforce, high horsepower, it really opens up the racetrack. You can go way up the track. That guy on the bottom can't get in the gas and wrap the bottom. He's just as slick down there as it is for him on the bottom. So you drive to the top, get to the gas sooner, carry speed off the corner down the straightaway. Right here, look at the gain. It's gonna run right up to the back of this 3-car down the straightaway. Just keep doing that lap after lap after lap. Get on his right rear quarter panel out here. Force him out of the gas on corner exit. Look at this. Look at the run you get. Man, I love that, running that top side.
He's got to make the bottom work, though. He's been running to the top. That got him in this position. Now he has to quickly adjust his driving style. You cannot drive the car the same on the bottom as you do on the top.
He gains a spot, and that helps him as far as the playoff points that he's been looking for. Denny Hamlin, though, leader here at Dover. In the second stage, the NASCAR Cup Series Drydene 311 from the Monster Mile. Still out front, Denny Hamlin. Well, tonight, second round of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs are going to begin on NBC. Dallas versus Colorado. It's game 1. Their best-of-7 series coverage starts 8 p.m. Eastern on NBC. And let's go through the field, brought to you by KFC. We'll start with Dave.
Why not, Rick? It's a great day for Through the Field, and Denny Hamlin is having a good one so far, leading this field. One thing he needs to know is what the competition is doing behind him. They're telling him Truex is wrapping that bottom center just a little bit better than he is. Parker?
Well, Dave, right behind him, his teammate Martin Truex Jr. running in second, which is better in third, where he's finished the last 5 races. But in talking to his crew chief, James Small, about these doubleheaders, he said, you know, I'm not a big fan. I said, why? He goes, because we know we want to win that first one, because we don't feel like you can put the best product possible in that second race, knowing how much you have to tweak these bodies after they've run 311 laps at Dover, Dave.
Clint Boyer is headed to the playoffs for now, 14th out of 16. That's kind of the danger zone. So I asked his crew chief, Johnny Klausmeyer, what he needed points-wise going to Daytona next week. He said 30 or 40 on the gap. Right now they're plus 77, but today's a long day, and there's one more tomorrow, Dylan.
Brad Keselowski runs in the 4th spot, Dave. This is pretty consistent with where they felt like they would run. This year feel like they've been really solid. They have multiple wins, but not the number of wins that they want. They're always hungry, looking for more. 2 straight finishes of 13th or worse coming into this weekend. Looking so far so good for BK. Parker?
Also looking good for Jimmy Johnson, Mr. 7-time and 11-time winner at Dover. Very happy at race car. And if you look at those points, he's in the playoffs right now, 3 over his teammate. I asked Chris Daniels about racing against their teammate, and he said, you know, it's odd because I've worked with Chad, I've worked with Jimmy so often. I want all of us to make the playoffs. We'll see if that's possible. Dave?
Dover International Speedway looks symmetrical when you look at it from the air, but the ends are definitely different. Turns 1 and 2 right there for Logano. They are good. It's turns 3 and 4 where they're trying to make adjustments and help this driver, Parker.
Behind him, Kevin Harvick has had an incredible last couple weeks. Aside from the Daytona Road Course last week, his results have looked like a great golf score. They're so low every time. It's been amazing. I asked Rodney Childers about that. He said, you know, the big thing is Kevin Harvick races off of markers. When he has a notebook, he's incredible how he can pick up where he left off. Even it was 4 years ago. That's why the Daytona Road Course didn't go so well. But coming here, because of they had a lot of confidence, Dylan.
Austin Dillon runs in the 8th spot after staying out during stage number 1. They raced on old tires, learned so much about what this race car can do. Expect them to maybe make a call similar to that if the opportunity presents itself. Austin's been pretty happy with the car as well on this run. Hasn't said too much about the balance, just trying to maintain right now as he runs in the 8th spot. Right behind him, right below him there in that green car, the 18, that's Kyle Busch. Bit of a different story for him. He has not been thrilled with the handling of his race car, balancing a free landing, tight off condition. They've taken a couple big swings at it down pit road. Seems to be a little bit better. Kyle's been a little quieter on the radio here during this green flag run, but never perfect. Always trying to improve the 18, Parker.
Another solid run for Eric Almirola inside the top 10. Coming in here, he was very excited. If you remember for the fall race 2018 when they last ran this package, he led 64 laps, came very close to winning that race, and he's thought ever since then he could win here,
Jr. runs in the 11th spot, putting together a nice afternoon here at Dover. He likes this place a lot. Kind of takes him back to his dirt track roots where you can manipulate the car based on your handling. You can move around, run high, low. You see him running up there against near the outside wall. He likes that. He likes being able to kind of self-medicate his race car, doing that well right now as he runs 11th, Dave.
Ryan Blaney has described his car today as wicked loose, but remember he started back in the 20th position. Oh, trouble down there in the bottom of the track, guys.
Yeah, spinning right onto pit road is Quinn Houff, 22-year-old from Virginia. Doesn't bring the caution out, but you saw him create a little smoke there. And we'll let you pick it back up, Dave.
I got a little excited there. Saw a little smoke spinning cars at Dover. So Blaney, remember why he started 20th? That new lineup metric they use relies heavily on last week's finish, and he was 31st at the Daytona Road Course. So he's trying to make a long day better for the 12. Parker?
Tyler Reddick running in 13th has had an incredible rookie campaign. The only thing missing is a win and finding themselves in the playoffs. Randall Burnett, his crew chief, told me we expected to make the playoffs, and then we've had a bad couple weeks. He said the biggest problem, we have not been able to score stage points. Right now, he's 3 positions from doing that in stage 2, Dylan.
Parker right behind him. Cole Custer rides in the 14th spot. Crew chief Mike Schiffler talked about the value of double headers for this rookie driver. Practice is the race, so they want to try to have a solid day today, apply that to what they learned and how they race tomorrow. So running nice, consistent laps inside the top 15 today, Dave.
Recovery day right now for Eric Jones. Remember, involved in early contact with that 20 car. They've repaired it. They've made their way back up to the 15th position. So it's kind of the way it's been lately for Eric Jones. Bad news, you make the best of it, and sometimes you can find yourself in a much better position, Rick.
Yeah, great work, you guys. That was awesome information. Top 15 there running and where they're running.
Show William Byron right here. Still back in the 24th position, guys, right now. 3 points out of the playoffs. -3. He came in here pretty comfortable. Let's hear what those guys are talking about.
Dude, I'm trying. I don't know what to do. Tell you what I see, or just want me to let you run like try to help. I run like because I can't get in the corner right now. I'm trying. I don't know what to do. I can only drive as far as it'll go.
There you hear it, man. The tempers and the frustrations are playing out on the radio with that 24 bunch. It is definitely playoff time. That is exactly, and I'm sure that's not the only radio that sounds like that, Steve, as the pressure's starting to build as we close in on the final few races of the season.
Yeah, the pressure's starting to build, and the laps start to tick away, right? 115 complete, 196 laps to go. You're concerned because the leaders are coming. You're going to lose a lap. Look at this right here, that 0-0 we thought might have spun out. I actually think, Rick, it just showed how tough it is to get to pit road. I was with Dave. I got all excited when I saw the smoke that we might have seen a yellow. Instead, it's just a struggle. We bring that up because if the caution doesn't come out, they will have to pit under green in this stage. NASCAR's adjusted these stage lengths, this second stage, longer than normal, which will add a required pit stop for fuel.
We heard that radio transmission. Between Chad Canels, the crew chief, and the driver, William Byron, of that 24. What Chad is looking at is data, saying, look, I'm looking at the data. This is where you're getting beaten. And what William is saying, well, yeah, that's because the car won't let me do what I want to do. I know that's where I'm getting beaten. You got to fix the car so I can do what you're asking me to do. Until you fix it, I can't. And that is a typical confrontation that driver and crew chief have had since the beginning of racing, right? I need you to do this. And the driver's like, well, make the car do it so I can do it. And that just is what happens in motorsports.
Well, the other thing I think worth pointing out is I struggled to make out some of the words in that radio communicate. They aren't sitting next to each other having a calm conversation. There are noise in the background. Dover's one of the louder racetracks, just the bowl shape with the stands the way they are. That agitates the situation as well when you're trying to make everything out, and then you start to talk louder, Rick, and I think that makes everybody more agitated, so it's just so hard to communicate.
Guys, let's don't forget about Chase Elliott. We saw him running really well earlier, got some damage on the left front, fell back. They took some time to fix it, and when I look at timing and scoring, quite frequently the fastest car on the racetrack is that 9 of Chase Elliott.
We made USAA insurance for veterans like Liz and Mike, an Army family who's always at the ready. So when they got a little surprise, They didn't panic. They got a bigger car for their soon-to-be bigger family. After shopping around for insurance, they called USAA, who helped find the right coverage for them and even some much-needed savings.
That was the easy part.
USAA Insurance is made the way Liz and Mike need it. Easy. USAA. What you're made of, we're made for.
Wendy's famous 4 for $4 is heating up with the new Spicy Crispy Chicken Sandwich. And yes, you can get it with spicy nugs, fries, and a drink, all for just $4. Is it getting hot in here? Or did the Queen of Spice just deliver the hottest deal in fast food?
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go.
What is the
From now on, we're not going to leave anything on our plates because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
We could never do what they do, but what we can do is be a partner that never quits. Verizon is the most reliable network in America, built for interoperability and puts first responders first, giving their calls priority 24/7. We do what we do best, so they can too.
Wendy's famous 4 for $4 is heating up with the new Spicy Crispy Chicken Sandwich. And yes, you can get it with spicy nugs, fries, and a drink, all for just $4. Is it getting hot in here? Or did the Queen of Spice just deliver the hottest deal in fast food?
I am the future, and I am now.
How about winning Daytona?
I am a face you may not know, with a number you may not know.
Ross Chastain back on Algar.
But you will. Trust me, you will. I am going to make sure my name will be the one you'll remember forever. I am the NASCAR Xfinity Series. I am NASCAR.
NASCAR's official app puts race coverage and live in-car cameras right at your fingertips. You can unlock the premium content today with a free trial. Just search NASCAR in your app store. You can visit NASCAR.com/mobile. And Denny Hamlin in the 11 just goes by the 24 of William Byron, putting him a lap down. So the radio communication we heard earlier probably isn't going to get a whole lot better.
Now the pressure's real, and you could see the pressure building as the 11 caught him. And the 24 and William Byron, trying to stay in front of the 11, had a huge moment off turn 4. Ultimately had to give up the spot, and now the 95 is not going to be much of a battle for Denny as well. Let's take a look at that. So right here, the 24 trying to throttle up, and look at this. That is a big slide at a very narrow racetrack. So we listened into the 24, and we heard the excitement of trying to improve their car from the back and the agitation in both their voices. Well, the difference is clear when you listen to the 48 currently running 5th.
Second apex is my biggest problem. Is your entry still okay? Oh yeah, lots of margin there. Still tight everywhere, but second apex is tightest. Yeah, just for we took a big swing at it there. Really all that did was keep up with the track. We'll do some more. Keep taking care of it. Be smart.
And I don't think this is a personality comparison. This is a pressure and position comparison. Because I feel confident that if you take Jimmy Johnson back to a lap down and you flip him with a 24, you know, the agitation on the radio moves with it. You see the difference. Came in minus 25, currently plus 2. Things are going right for Jimmy Johnson, and you hear the patience, the calmness, the very direct demeanor on the radio. Not quite the same for William Byron in the 24.
And he's talking about the second apex. You know, where is that second apex? Let's ride along with him down into turn 3. This is the first one right here where the car lands. Here comes the second apex on corner exit of turn 4 right here. That's where he wants help. Says the top car's super tight. Worse at that part of the racetrack. Help me there.
And he also made the comment, how are you on corner entry? He said lots of margin there, meaning you do not have to worry about me being too loose in the corner entry. Fix the exit, fix that turn for that second apex. Ignore the entry. I got enough room on corner entry. That's a big advantage, right, Steve? Because now you can get aggressive. Now you can go make something happen.
Yeah, that one would have got underlined in the notebook a couple times.
Parker.
Well, guys, after he had that pit stop issue earlier in the race, Kevin Harvick flew through the field, but his progress
dump truck. So he pushes everywhere, except the entry. Once I get early center, just start shoving the front tires. Gets worse as I go around the corner.
So, Steve, I've used this term, and I don't know why, because I have absolutely no idea why a car would push or how a dump truck pushes. But obviously, that term just never going to go away. Very tight car for Kevin Harvick.
The dump truck. They always like to. Oh, see. Caught my attention right there. Kevin Harvick reaches over and downshifts, coming to pit road with 52 laps to go. There's fuel on board, only 57 complete. I don't know if he felt something or if this is a strategy call.
Look at the sun on his on the dash. He's holding his hand up so that the sun, he can still see his dash.
You know, we talk about pushing like a dump truck. You have to wonder if he felt something with the right front or if Rodney Childers just says, hey, let's gamble. Let's put some tires on early. Everybody has to pit in this stage here at Dover. It looks like a pretty clean pit stop on the right, maybe a little bit slow on the left. Big adjustment in the left rear wedge wrench, and just like that, he pulls away, and then we'll look at Kevin again, see if he puts his hand out to block the sun. Might only be there in turn 4 because you can see his dash pretty good here.
Hey, Steve, you can split the rest of the race now, right? Just pit one more time?
Well, you're going to pit at the end of the stage regardless. You're not going to be able to stay out with 51 laps, but you can definitely make it to the end of the stage. My concern is that how much time you lose at a 1-mile racetrack. My other concern is that we have seen some mechanical gremlins. Parker.
Well, Steve, I think crew chiefs are noticing there's been a fair bit of fall off here, so it's been a short pitting. Martin Truex has continued to be loose. You saw that adjustment in the right rear. 4 Goodyear tires to no field for him as they try to join Kevin Harvick in the short pit, Dave.
Eric Jones has been complaining that the 20 car is, quote, on top of the racetrack. That's a condition you don't want. And so he'll get 4 fresh Goodyears and a Phillips Sunoco fuel as he brings his Toyota to pit road. The 14 of Clint Boyer, that car's been pretty good, but the front was a little bit lazy for Boyer. And so Boyer will get an adjustment on his Mustang to take it through. The 22 of Joey Logano, well, it's not turning like it was. You want the perfect feeling in your car at some point during the race. He doesn't have it now. He felt like the front tires were giving up. His team will give him 4 more and send him back out.
A lot of green flag pit stops taking place now. We see the left side of your screen, Denny Hamlin, race leader, has come to pit road. Brad Keselowski now out front.
It's a racetrack. You see a lot of speeding penalties. Dave, what do you have on Denny?
Down there, the 11 car finally brings it to pit road. He'll take 4 tires as well. Car's been operating pretty well. He'll just get, I don't think he's going to get any changes, certainly no chassis changes right now on the 11.
Austin Dillon in at the top of your screen. He's been building tight the last couple runs. They're going to make a track bar adjustment, raise that to free him up 4 tires and fuel, and he's down and away.
Bubba Wallace also in the 43. You see Jimmy Johnson leaving now. Dave?
Bubba Wallace brings that 43 onto pit road with new sponsorship. That's good to see for him. Over-rotating the center. That's what his complaint was. They'll make a change for that, Dylan.
Brad Keselowski headed down pit road as well. Fairly happy with his race car. Said, I don't think I'd change anything major, but they are going to make a little bit of an air pressure adjustment on the right side tires just to keep Brad happy over the course of a long run. Cole Custer in as well as he works down pit road in his stall there at the bottom of your screen. He's still battling a tight center off condition. Going to try and get that freed up for him over the course of the long run as well.
It's one of those racetracks, Rick, I get really nervous during green flag pit stops because that pit road is so hard to get on. We have seen drivers spin out. We've seen drivers hit the barrels. Creates a caution. Can really split the entire field up as we see the 9 of Chase Elliott on pit road here now. Dave.
Speaking of seeing, Steve, you can't miss that car this weekend. The green number 9 for Chase Elliott. He brings it down. Last pit stop, they worked on it quite a bit. They fixed the damage that they had gotten from contact with a 14. They did a wedge adjustment, track bar adjustment, and put some packer in it as well. This time looks more standard. 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel.
Keselowski has come to pit road as well. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is now up front. Kyle Busch running second. And Kyle Busch is now on pit road. Dylan.
Okay, Kyle Blaze reported, by the way, another bright green race car. To add to Dave's point here, Kyle's just reported that he's really, really free in. So we're going to try to figure out a way to keep that race car from spinning out on him. Just air pressure adjustment for now. 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel for Kyle Busch. Trying to claw their way back here after getting mired back in the pack a little bit earlier.
How long can they stay out, Steve? And will somebody try to go the length as far as a fuel run?
Well, I think William Byron's kind of pushed into that corner. We documented how he was lapped on the racetrack. So, you know, if you pit with the leaders, you're going to probably stay at least 1 lap down. The risk of what Chad Knaus is doing right here is if you don't get a yellow, you might end up 2 laps down. But at some point, when you don't have the car, you got to take the gamble.
Benedetto is out front if we go NASCAR nonstop.
We made USAA insurance for veterans like Liz and Mike, an Army family who's always at the ready. So when they got a little surprise, they didn't panic. They got a bigger car for their soon-to-be bigger family. After shopping around for insurance, they called USAA, who helped find the right coverage for them and even some much-needed savings.
That was the easy part.
USAA insurance is made the way Liz and Mike need it. Easy. USAA. What you're made of, we're made for.
Get extra napkins when you order a hot and juicy Quarter Pounder. A normal amount of napkins just won't do. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Gear up at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's during the Fall Hunting Classic. Your adventure starts here.
Don't be conventional.
Anthony Davis.
Be exceptional. Upgrade to Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil.
You own a lot of basketballs.
Yeah, I got a few.
Get 250,000 miles of protection. Upgrade to Mobil 1.
Awesome internet. It's more than just fast. It keeps all your devices running smoothly. With built-in security that protects your kids, no matter what they're up to. Protects your info and gives you 24/7 peace of mind. That if it's connected, it's protected. Even that pet camera thingy. Can your internet do that? Xfinity XFi can, because it's simple, easy, awesome.
Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR.
I am the one. Back with a full throttle roar. I am the intersection of chaos, karma, love, legacy, family, and flag. I am the place where we can be as one, united from the four corners of our beloved sport. Back with one thunderous return. I am ready for you. If you are ready for me, I am NASCAR.
35 laps to go in stage 2. The NASCAR Cup Series, Drydene 311 from Dover International Speedway. And out front, it is Matt DiBenedetto driving for Wood Brothers, and they are sitting on 99 career wins. Looking for that magic 100, and Matt DiBenedetto is the driver who wants to give that to Wood Brothers. Right now, he's on a little bit of a different schedule. He stayed out. There are only 4 that have stayed out and that will still have to come to pit road. It's DiBenedetto, Byron, McDowell, and Alex Bowman.
Let's go back and ride along with Jimmy Johnson. Watch this action. Oh, wow. Pitting in front of you. Oh, my goodness.
All right, now hold on. I heard some laughing over that other booth.
Because I'm
no way y'all would have been laughing if you were Jimmy Johnson.
No, you expect when somebody's pitting for them to maybe give you a little notice, be on the bottom of the racetrack.
Be out of the way.
Woo. Yeah, we've seen that before at Texas Motor Speedway earlier this year. Cars pitting from the second and third groove can be pretty catastrophic.
All right, you want to hear the radio from the 48? Take a listen.
Oh, my God. Who the was that? I don't know, man.
That's right.
That's a great answer. Don't give him, even if you know, don't tell him. Like, I
expected nothing less. And he's still going to want to know when this race is over with. That was pretty close.
Well, I'm not going to incriminate him on here. I'm not taking that responsibility.
Who was that? Oh, my.
It's a great battle right here for 10th. Joe Logano, Kyle Busch. 17 car right there. Chris Buescher's a lap down. Kyle kind of working his way slowly through this field. It's not been, doesn't look like he's got an amazing race car, but he's slowly getting up through there. Got a great run here to the inside of the 22. Using that high line to create that momentum. Making that pass on the bottom can be difficult. Looks like the 22 is going to let him have it.
Breaks into the top 10. And again, there are 4 cars in front of him that have yet to stop, that have to still stop.
Yeah, 22 struggling there. Joe Logano had a little more speed earlier in the race, but it looks like this car's not handling very well. Getting a little pressure from Chris Buescher from behind here.
And you see Jimmy Johnson's behind these guys. He was in front of them before these pit sequences started. He's lost some positions. Not sure if it's a slow pit stop, slow on or off pit road, but he's definitely lost some spots here. Those are things in the race, Steve, that you, at the time when they happen, it hurt your feelings. You look back, you may not ever get them back.
No. It's a race from green to checkered. I know there's yellows mixed in and stages mixed in, and people think that resets the field. It doesn't. It slows the car down. It does not reset the field, right? The positions you've lost, the time you've lost, sometimes there's no chance to get it back. Another guy that I'm watching on the timing, you talk about giving time up and gaining time, the 19 of Truex has chewed up Denny Hamlin's lead. It's down only about 0.4 of a second for the 3rd position, a couple cars in front of him, but both of those two have made pit stops.
Here, Jimmy Johnson did indeed have a slow pit stop, 18-second pit stop.
That'll do it. That would have been a stopwatch in my day. Anything over about a 15-second, I would throw a stopwatch, so that would have definitely cost us a stopwatch. Not my finest moments.
Off the roof with the 19 car, Martin Truex Jr., Toyota Camry. Listen to the throttle. Can't really get to it. Man, he wants to go to that throttle, but he just can't get full throttle till you get up on the straightaway. There's Denny right in front of him in that bottom groove.
And as the pit stop cycle through, again, the Benedetto and Byron are in front of Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr.
Listen to the patience. Takes
Benedetto
just
just
patience to stay out of the throttle, not overcycle that. Here comes the 21 on the pit road.
I'm very interested to see, is it 4 tires and fuel and committing to this strategy, staying out at the end of the stage, or to do something crazy to shorten their time on pit road? I think their best bet here, Rick, is 4 tires and hope they get, either lucky by staying out at the end of the stage. That leaves William Byron as the lone man on pit road. Dave.
Yeah, what happens ahead of you definitely sets your strategy, and then strategy changes, and then there's another strategy. So as the race continues on the left, he'll take 4 tires, he'll get full of Sunoco fuel, and then Greg Irwin will go back to work and figure out what the next strategy is.
So as we see the 21 lead, the 11 and the 19 now are racing for the lead. They've bypassed William Byron in the 24. We know Byron has to be coming pretty soon.
Yeah, now that he's no longer in the lead.
Well, he still really stays out until he has no fuel left. I mean, he's pot committed at this point.
He's hoping for a caution right now. If he doesn't get a caution, that would get him back. He'd be at the very least be in the lead lap.
Hope to see a caution and not be the caution. Yeah, that's always the magical thing you're looking for. I like to watch this 24 right here. Jimmy Johnson, we talked to him this week on a Zoom call, and he talked about the delta, basically the difference of grip on the banking to on the asphalt, and his opinion was the biggest of any track we go to. So when you peel off the banking, Junior and Jeff, he says that even after all these races, he still gets on that asphalt, and oh man, I've overshot. I'm not going to make pit road. He barely makes it. Now, William Byron on the oldest tires of anyone out there, will he be able to get to pit road successfully?
You have to lift on the back straightaway, way before the corner. Because you've got to be able to get onto the apron in the middle of the corner to be able to make that pit road. I've missed it before. A lot of drivers will miss it in their career. This will be a tough one for this 24 car.
William Byron hanging on to a 3rd spot. Sitting in 3rd now, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr. running 1 and 2 for Joe Gibbs Racing. Byron is 3rd, 4th, Clint Boyer, Keselowski, McDowell, Harvick. Boyer, Keselowski, Harvick, McDowell all driving Fords, and we see Almirola on pit road, Parker.
Trying to catch up with this one, guys. Ryder is actually on the road. I know he was struggling with the right front a little bit, had a vibration on have to check in and find out if that's how he came down.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing up here, Parker, is that the 10 finally got to a point where he just couldn't ride the vibration out, had to come to pit road. Check in maybe and see if it was a wheel or a tire, but either way, Eric Almirola pits under green.
NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Drydene Performance Products, the hardest working brand in heavy-duty lubrication. Drydene.com. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And by McDonald's. Dylan.
William Byron, we just saw him come in there. Remember, we talked earlier about how tight they were. All those changes, I think, have worked because Williams said it was too edgy on corner entry. He wanted to be tightened up on entry. So they made that adjustment, that air pressure adjustment, and then just took 2 tires, as you saw as well.
All right, for that 2-tire call to work, William Byron is going to have his hands full with 13 laps to go as he enters the back straightaway. 1 lap down to the leader, Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin is on the same straightaway. So now, with only 2 right side tires and 13 laps to go, he has to stay only 1 lap down. There you see it, the 24 and the 11. I know it's easy to say after, but I really think it would have been better to take 4 tires and then just take the wave around, unless, of course, the 78 blows up or whatever he's spoken for. Take 4 tires and take the wave around and 12 more laps, Rick, I think would be a better option for the 24, but we'll have to see if this works out. Can he stay only 1 lap down with 12 laps to go?
Tire rub for the 78 of B.J. McLeod.
Pace looks good, actually. That set of corners, even on 2 tires. We saw Dylan stay out on old tires, drivers. It seems like these 2 right side tires are working so far.
All right, guys, we talked about pitting under green and why it's so difficult at this racetrack. So let's go right along with Martin Truex Jr. Listen when he lifts. Almost to the bridge, that crossover. This is under a normal lap. All right, now we're going to ride along with him. And this is when he lifts coming on pit road. Way before the bridge. That's something that's counterintuitive at most racetracks. You don't expect to lift sooner when you're going to slow down. You expect to drive in the corner deeper coming to green, to a green flag stop. That's why so many people have trouble here. You have to back up that entry, really slow down. If not, you will miss the pit road entrance.
Another great battle here with 18 car Kyle Busch documenting his climb through the field against the outside of the 4 car of Kevin Harvick for 5th place. Right in front of him, Brad Keselowski in that 2 car is the next position.
Just a little bit of housekeeping as well. We saw Eric Almirola on pit road because of that vibration, Rick. 2 laps down currently in the 29th position.
There are only 16 cars, now 15 cars on the lead lap. Ryan Blaney running 15th.
I like this longer second stage, Rick. Force these guys to get their car better. Force them to make green flag pit stops. That was the idea with this longer stage, and I'm a fan of it. I think the race is a little more straightforward when you can run the first and the second stage without a pit stop.
That 18 car is fast, guys. They have made that car much better than it was earlier.
I'm not jinxing him.
Look
I'm
at
not talking about it.
Yeah, look how fast he rolls the center of the corner, running the top.
That's what Adam Stevens has always said. He said, we get better throughout the weekend. Well, when you don't have practice or qualifying, you can't improve until the start of the race. And so they're improving in the middle of this race. I wonder how good he's going to be tomorrow in the second race of the doubleheader.
Yeah, I think, too, this has a lot to do with the package. You know, taking that rear spoiler off the car so these guys can move around and can run close to each other. Really suits this racetrack much better. You're using all of the racetrack in the corner.
It's fair to say Kyle Busch is not a fan of that other package either. A lot of close calls on this racetrack. Martin Truex Jr. working lap traffic. Whoa! I'm sure Martin's wondering, what in the world? Giving you plenty of room.
Yeah, these cars, it's so slick. You know, in the banking on the straightaway, it's 9 degrees, but it feels like much more than that. Guys kind of wander down the racetrack into the right front of your car sometimes.
This is what I was talking about, Rick. Here's my concern with this 2-tire gamble. You do it to save a lap, but your car's not good enough to stay on the lead lap. Or, excuse me, to stay 1 lap down. 4 tires would have put the 24 in the same position. Look at the disgust on Chad Knaus, the head shaking. He knows what needs to happen, but the 24 is just not good enough. Jeff, what's the difference between 1 lap and 2 laps down? It's forever. So many options, right, when you're only 1 lap down. Now at 2 laps down and old left side tires, he can't stay out in 4 more laps. He's stuck.
Yeah, that's the problem. He can't stay out. He's going to have to pit. And otherwise, to your point, he could have put 4 on, fill it with fuel, and go ahead and take the damage then, but not pit at the stage break and hope to get his lap back. But that was a gamble, right? Staying out for a long time was a gamble that did not work out.
But I'm okay with the staying out. It's the 2 tires, I think, was the missed call for the staying out.
And Steve, they know, I mean, through engineers, computers, they knew when he was going to come out in relation to Denny Hamlin, or at least a pretty good idea. If they do a 2-tire stop, they're on pit road for this amount of time. That means they get back out on the racetrack. They'd be just in front of the 11. So that was a Chad Knaus making an educated guess of, I think we can stay in front of him.
I would love to stop right now and ask Chad what the computer told him and see if it told him the truth or see if their program misled him.
Look at the points. Now this point battle projects out as if everybody's going to finish just like this. Keep that in mind. But remember the lead coming in here that William Byron had on Jimmy Johnson. And now if everything stays the same, that lead is erased.
And how about, a point for Jimmy there as he gets by the 22.
Oh, look at there.
Doing a little contact. Bubba gets into the back of him.
Bubba racing hard here.
Last time the 11 won the first 2 stages. He went on to win. That was Miami.
Remember Joey Logano got into Bubba Wallace last week. Maybe Bubba just saying, you know what, I didn't like that last week. Gonna give you a little shot, let you remember it.
So Denny Hamlin wins stage 1 and stage 2. Can he get back in his winning ways and get back to victory lane at the Monster Mile, the first race of the doubleheader from Dover International? NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Applebee's. Handcrafted burgers, all just $8.99. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR, perfect for race fans. And by Drydene Performance Products, the hardest working brand in heavy-duty lubrication. Drydene.com.
Steve. Yeah, 19 of Martin Truex Jr. pits from the 2nd position. Says it starts really, really tight, then gets loose late in a run. He thinks perhaps it's on the front splitter. James Small makes some small adjustments right here to see if he can improve the 19. Martin.
Kevin Harvick also struggling with the front end of his race car, saying it just doesn't do anything for him, meaning it's very tight in the corners there, Dylan.
Brad Keselowski in the center of your screen said the front end went away, making a stagger adjustment. The left front tires are going on the left rears, the right front's on the left rear. They've done that for 3 different sets of tires. Front air adjustment as well for BK. Dave.
Denny Hamlin delivering stage wins today, but it looks like Martin Truex might have a little edge on him. Yes, Truex will beat his teammate off of pit road.
One spot change between Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin. Kyle Busch, 3rd off of pit road. Make sure to check out the greatest selection of t-shirts, hats, die-casts, and much more. For all of your favorite drivers, just go to NASCAR.com/shop. Right now, I want to go to the NBC Sports Charlotte studio and check in with KP and DJ. All right, guys, expected, or is this what you expected this race to look like? DJ?
Yeah, I would have to say so. I said in the pre-race show that I thought Denny Hamlin was doing his best driving, his best thinking, everything this year, and he's proven that once again. But he's going to have to show something here because he's got his hands full with some teammates right behind him here in the last stage.
Yeah, I don't know if this is what I expected. 2 tires, 4 tires, swapping front tires for rear tires for front tires, and everything Dale Jr. said he wanted to see. Nothing but slipping and sliding all day long.
Well, we're enjoying it right along with you. And make sure to stay tuned. Those guys will be back for the NASCAR America post-race show, as well as IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship from VIR is going to be later this evening.
And Rick, Kyle Petty, a coffee lover like myself, I think he's on his 3rd or 4th cup from what I just saw right there. So the post-race show could be great. I mean, made after my own heart.
3rd or 4th cup of this stage.
Yeah, oh yeah. That's just the cup race. Doesn't count when he had it for the Xfinity earlier.
Right.
So you might want to put your seatbelts on, guys.
Oh, Cup 5. We've had a report. Cup 5. DJ's keeping track.
The coffee maker up here it gets used so much it's about wore out. We're not even halfway through our season yet.
A choose rule happening. And Kyle Busch is going to restart on the front row. He has chosen that inside line. Take a look at the points earned today. Again, you earned points finishing in the top 10 of each stage. And Denny Hamlin, perfect so far, winning both stages. Jimmy Johnson has gained 7 points. Remember, coming in, he was fighting against teammate William Byron. Byron was ahead of him in the points. Those are valuable points. Again, 2 races still to go before the playoffs, before the end of the regular season. But every spot, every position, every point counts.
All right, Rick, we talked about the 24 and the options they had to pit. Remember, he was running with Matty D about 5 seconds behind him. Matt DiBenedetto did the opposite. Put on 4 tires, fuel, got back out there, and he actually took the wave around. Therefore, Matty D back on the lead lap. That was what I was hoping the 24 would do. Now we'll see if it pays off. It may not, but there was another option.
18 cars on the lead lap. We get ready for the restart. Aero coverage brought to you by Geico as we look down on Dover International Speedway. It's a horse track that's inside this 1 mile concrete oval. Back up through the gears they go to get underway with the final stage.
Joe Gibbs battle amongst the top right here. Kyle Busch going for the lead.
Oh, Denny Hamlin didn't get a good exit off of 2. He's going to have his hands full with Brad Keselowski for 3rd. Denny was 2nd. Chose to line up in that outside line. It's going to cost him a couple spots here.
Yeah, he went from leading the race back to 4th.
So now Martin Truex Jr. out front. Jimmy Johnson running the high line above the 9. Chase Elliott. Those two continue to fight. They're teammates as well. And Hendrick.
Chase Elliott has a really fast race car. That Ricky Stenhouse Jr. having a really strong day.
Sure is. I talked to him earlier today. Ricky Stenhouse told me, he said, we're looking for points. We're looking to have the best runs we can. He said, actually, last year I was running in the top 10 when I blew the right front, and he thinks his equipment is better this year. So not a surprise that he's running up here in the 10th spot now.
I agree with him. I think the team he's with now, I wasn't quite sure when he made the move over to 47 car, but he's brought some speed with him. His ability and his aggression. They're getting better and better as the season goes on.
Behind him, Cole Custer, a rookie. He's talked about making the adjustment to the Cup Series. Got that win earlier in the year. Now sitting here running 11th spot.
William Byron just behind them, but again, William Byron scored 2 laps down, running in the 29th position, Steve. So is this a huge mistake for that 24 team and the choice that they made?
Well, it definitely hurt. Now they just need to run enough laps to get a yellow where most of the leaders will pit. That way they can take the wave around. So all the 24 driver can do right now is move himself up into the pack. So he has a better chance of taking a wave around. The car just in front of him, the 41 of Cole Custer. We talk about these good runs. You know, remember, guys, he's in the playoffs with a win. And, Jeff, why I think that matters is not because he's going to go contend for a championship. He may. But think of the knowledge he's going to gain as a rookie, right? To be able to feel what the media responsibilities are. You know, what it's like to have the focus of being in the playoffs. It makes your rookie year even more valuable as you kind of move into your career.
Yeah, it certainly does, Steve. And on top of that, I just think that no matter what, if you don't make the playoffs, it feels like a lost season, right? And when the playoffs start and you're not in it, you feel like everybody's forgotten about you. Like you don't even you're not even included in the races. It is a horrible feeling as a driver and a race team.
Well, it sounds crazy, but as you look at drivers moving around, Rick, if I'm an owner or a decision maker at a team and I look at somebody's resume and he took part that young in his career, that's a big positive. I'm like, hey, if we can get our cars better and get him there again, it's not his first shot in the big show. Because I've had all these drivers that say it wouldn't matter and the elimination wouldn't matter, and then they all say, I was wrong. That pressure's real when you get to those cut races. So, he'll feel that pressure.
Let's listen into Cole's radio.
Cole, one thing I want you to think about on new tires, maybe you're rushing the throttle a little bit in the middle, trying to go back too soon, and that's lift on exit. Just wait just a tick so you don't have to lift on exit. That may help you on new tires, make them last a little longer.
I like that information from Mike Shiplett. So drivers, I ask you, he must be looking at SMT data, right, of other drivers to have that. Mike's never driven at Dover, so he's seeing what other people are doing successfully and relaying it to his young driver.
And in a fashion of calmness.
Yeah.
Right? Not, hey, you need to do this.
Right.
It's, hey, listen, I think if you tried this, right, I like that.
Well, if you're ever going to get a driver to listen to you, that's the only way to do it. Good battle right here for third.
I think that was a compliment, but I'm not sure. I'm just not real. I'm going to take it as a compliment.
Slid in there. Yeah, it was slid in there.
I mean,
It certainly was a voice of experience.
Drivers don't want anybody to tell them how to drive, even their own crew chiefs. Yeah. But you know, it is great information, and the crew chiefs do have more data and information than they've ever had before. So, you know, it's no different, I guess, than having your spotter tell you, hey man, are they making time on the high side? Where's the leader beating me? Where is he running? Where are the front guys running? Look at that, 2 car almost sideways. Almost wrecking, sorry. Yeah, he's going to have to give up this spot right here.
He was loose to the entire corner. Oh, he ain't going to give that best spot. He's going to keep fighting.
He's going to fight against the 11, see if he can hold on to it.
How about the middle lane down the backstretch, though? I don't think Hamlin's going to like that. The 2 ran like 1 lane off the wall.
Look at this. Watch Brad Keselowski. Gets loose right here, and it just keeps on and on and on. Never quit driving that car.
That's what we miss. We've seen all day long from the Xfinity guys and the Cup guys is just dirt tracking it around this racetrack.
And then how about that? Like a
still going down there. Look at him.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin right on that back bumper. Dylan.
It's amazing what you guys were talking about. If you listen to Coleman Presley, who's Brad Keselowski's spotter, he is so detailed about telling Brad where guys are making up time on him. As Hamlin was starting to close in on him, he was talking about where Denny was better through the center of the corner on throttle. That's something that Brad wants to hear because it helps him adjust his line. But it's really interesting to listen to those 2 guys, Brad and his spotter, Coleman Presley, how they go through these races, because it's almost like Brad can't get enough information, and he uses that to his advantage to figure out how to hold these guys off.
Coleman is the son of Robert Presley. Coleman raced in Xfinity Series. You know, some of the better spotters, I think, are the guys who had experience on the racetrack. Look at that run Denny gets right here. God, Brad's car is out of control.
At some point, you just have to throw the towel in, don't you, and let the guy go by?
I don't know if Brad's that kind of guy, but looks like he's going to
this time, yes.
give it to him right there.
So he moves up the racetrack, tries to get his hands wrapped around that loose race car. Martin Truex Jr., remember, he's finished third the last 5 races. Well, he's running up front now as we go nonstop.
Here we have another burst pipe in Denmark. If you look close...
Jamie, are there any interesting photos from your trip?
Ouch. Okay. Boring. Boring. You don't need to see that. Oh, here we go. Can you believe my client Stieg had never heard of a home and auto bundle or the renter's good bundle?
Wait, you're a lawyer?
Only licensed in Stockholm.
What is happening?
Anyway. Game show, Kumite, Cinderella story.
You know karate?
No, Alan. I practice Muay Thai. Completely different skill set.
If you're ordering McDonald's and your friend says they don't want fries, get them the fries. Or else your fries will be their fries. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. You wanna go
Applebee's. All your favorite burgers, all just $8.99. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
From sandy blonde to jet black. When it comes to a great-looking gray-free beard, trust the new Just for Men. The easiest way to put your best face forward. The same great results in just 5 minutes at home. Just for Men mustache and beard. Be the better man you are and look the part.
Today tastes like staying in. Like our go-to place. Tastes like anticipating. And a little bit like waiting. Food's here. Today tastes like a piece of the action. And it never tasted this good.
And remember, remember, this is the first race of the doubleheader. They'll be back tomorrow, 4 Eastern, right here at Dover International Speedway. Again, points so important. A doubleheader from right here. And look at tomorrow's schedule. I mean, obviously, if you're a motorsports fan, what a day it's going to be. The 104th running of the Indianapolis 500. That's on NBC at 1 o'clock, as well as the second race for the Xfinity Series. That kicks off there. So flip back and forth. Enjoy the races from here at Dover, as well as the Indianapolis 500. I'll try not to spoil it when we come on for the Cup Series Dover, the second one, as far as who wins the Indy 500. If you're recording that, I want to make sure that you're able to enjoy the entire day. It should be a lot of fun. Take a look at the Toyota driver updates as we see Martin Truex Jr. out front. Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, they're all running 1, 2, 3 right now. Joe Gibbs Racing has to feel pretty good about that. Chase Elliott, we've talked about how quick that number 9 is, and already he's been able to get by the 22 of Logano, so he's up to 7. Here comes Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy's going to catch his lap car at the wrong place on corner exit. You see those guys in front of him drive away. Can't open it. You can't get into the throttle, commit to the throttle coming up on the inside of a lap car on corner exit.
I love riding on board, though. You know, at a track like this, you can just see not only how much the car moves left to right, the car in front of you, but you can actually see, like, the content. As we get closer to that 22, what I mean by that is that left rear tire in the wheel well, you see it bouncing up and down over the bumps. You know, this concrete track is anything but smooth. Really rough entering turn 3. That's one of the biggest trouble spots as you kind of go. This is a crossover bridge right here, and as you enter turn 3, a big set of bumps down here.
Junior called that railroad tracks earlier when we were watching the Xfinity Series race. It was like going over railroad tracks. Here's Alex Bowman. Remember the damage to the right front. That was early on in the race as he goes by Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, last week we talked about earlier there was some contact with 22 car, Joe Logano and Bubba Wallace. Well, this was it from last week. Logano, an aggressive move down there on the bottom, got into Bowman, and Bowman got into Bubba Wallace. I would imagine that Bowman and Wallace weren't happy with that move. Really aggressive from Joey, trying to make something happen, but a bit over aggressive there.
Yeah, we were talking with Bubba Wallace earlier this week, and he made the comment. He said, hey, I was a little bit surprised running up where I was. I wasn't expecting to be up there in the top 10 and having such a great run. And then, of course, nobody knew about it because I ended up wrecking. You know, I got wrecked at the last lap there. So it was difficult for him, but he said it even surprised him that he was running so well there.
Yeah, I heard Joey in an interview earlier this week, and he said, look, I may have gotten, been a little too aggressive, but I get paid to do 2 things. Number 1, pass cars in front of me. Number 2, keep the cars from behind me passing me. That's what I get paid to do. And sometimes I get a little too aggressive, and that's what he thought he did, but just trying to get more than perhaps he should have. But that's what you do as a race car driver.
That doesn't sound like an apology.
No, it wasn't. I think that sounded like an explanation. Apology and explanation, 2 different things.
It was one of those driver's apologies. I hate that. I hate that happen. Right? I hate that happen.
I hate that happened. As we're looking at Bubba Wallace, he's brought a couple different sponsors, DoorDash, Columbia, that have come in to the sport and to Richard Petty Motorsports. Still unknown as to what 2021 holds for Bubba. As far as where he will race, he said that every day he thinks they're making progress. And so he's excited about the situation that he's in right now, and really excited about the fact that Jerry Baxter has come over and is crew chiefing for him now this year. He thinks that's going that much better.
The driver that has to be excited about his performance today is Clint Boyer, currently running in the 5th position. And guys, you talked about Daytona next week, a doubleheader at Dover. Who can it benefit? Well, Clint Boyer currently 80 points above the cut line. He's doing a nice job. Why it's not a win, and he's not guaranteed in the playoffs. What he's doing with this good run is taking the pressure of Daytona off. Remember, if he can stay above 16 and stay enough points above, he can make it where Daytona can be a relaxing trip for Clint Boyer in the 14 car. Dave.
Stephen, I talked to Klausmeier about his driver this morning. He said one of the reasons why he runs well here is he does very well wrapping the bottom of the racetrack. He knows how to make his car good right there down to that bottom line. The other thing that he does well, he knows how to set the car up to push it. You do have to drive aggressively, Parker, and you know that.
Right, Dave, you do. And one driver trying to drive aggressively right now is our leader, Martin Truex Jr., because behind him is Kyle Busch, who has been catching him the last couple laps. Reason being, Martin Truex came on the radio and said, I'm too loose again, and that again is around lap 30 in the run. From here on out, that car continually gets looser. Even James Small tried to work on it, and you can hear on the radio how badly they want to keep this win. They desperately want to keep up in the lead right now, knowing they really want to get a win here soon, guys.
You know, Martin Truex Jr., we joke about it as far as how many different home tracks he has. I think he would consider Dover a home track for himself. So you look at his career here, 3 wins, ties for the most at any track. He's finished top 2 in both races last year, top 5 finishes, 6 of the last 7 races at this racetrack.
The one thing I love about his 3 wins, Rick, 2007, 2016, 2019. Why that matters is completely different styles of cars and rules, and it's not like you just
different teams.
Yeah, it wasn't just one magical setup, right? He's found a way to get around here as well in different packages. I actually spent some time with his crew chief James Small on the podcast, and James is just a fascinating guy. Australian, worked on V8 supercars, came over, worked at RCR, then was hired by Cole Pern at the 78. I mean, he has a lot of racing experience, even though this is his first gig as a Cup crew chief. He knows a lot about racing.
Behind him is his teammate Kyle Busch. Kyle up there on that high line trying to make it work. But what a good day for Kyle Busch. And I know we're not accustomed to saying that with Kyle Busch running second, but they need some of this. They need to be in a situation where they're running as well or better than some of their teammates. And they've really not done that a lot this year. So some positive momentum as we get closer to the playoffs for this team right now, Dylan.
Yeah, that's exactly the message, Jeff, that they've been trying to convey just throughout the course of this string of bad luck. They feel like this is the 6th or 7th race in a row where they've had the speed to do what they're doing today, which is run inside the top 5 for most of the afternoon and contend for a win here. But they do want to do just that. Even if they don't get a win before the playoffs come, they do want to just build some momentum and build some good runs in the bank so that they have that momentum and can start off on the right foot. So a ways to go still in this one, but having a day like today, I think will go a long way just for the overall morale of the team as they get ready to go for the playoffs here in a couple weeks.
Remember, he's the reigning Cup Series champion, and he's still winless as far into the schedule that we are.
Sports are humbling, aren't they?
Yes.
He's one of the best, too, at getting on and off pit road if we have a green flag pit stop late in this race. One of the most aggressive drivers we know. It's like Martin Truex, it really comes down to lap traffic. These guys are coming up on lap traffic continuously, and it's how Martin catches that lap traffic. 2 guys side by side right here. Well, how does that affect him? So he tries to get up there and get around them. That's an opportunity for the 18 to close. Now they're both going to the top of the racetrack. He's not going to be able to get into the gas here. This is going to be a chance for the 18 off the top to run down a couple more car lengths into that lead.
The gap right now, 0.6 of a second. Teammates, Martin Truex Jr. Again, the last 5 races, he has finished 3rd. Kyle Busch hasn't won
again
in 2020.
Right there, the 19, hard to get off of turn 2 there. 18 car is closing in on this lead, guys.
Let's go NASCAR nonstop.
Gene, did you know Geico is now offering an extra 15% credit on car and motorcycle policies?
That's great.
That's 15% on top of what Geico could already save you. So what are you waiting for? John Stamos to knit you a scarf?
I'll finish, Gene. Enjoy.
Thank you.
I give.
Stitch work is impeccable.
That's just a double fleck pattern with a reverse garter stitch. No big deal.
Is your hair this soft?
Softer.
Geico. Save an extra 15% when you switch by October 7th.
There was a time when brothers riding together meant fighting for the front seat. For the wildest ride. For the best view. To be the first one there. Or to catch the biggest fish. Well, at least the battles for the front seat are over. Luckily, not much else has changed. Toyota.
Get extra napkins when you order a hot and juicy Quarter Pounder. A normal amount of napkins just won't do. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Don't be conventional.
Anthony Davis.
Be exceptional. Upgrade to Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil.
You own a lot of basketballs.
Yeah, I got a few.
Get 250,000 miles of protection. Upgrade to Mobil 1.
We could never do what they do. But what we can do is be a partner that never quits. Verizon is the most reliable network in America, built for interoperability and puts first responders first, giving their calls priority 24/7. We do what we do best, so they can too.
Just 72 laps remaining. The NASCAR Cup Series Drydene 311 from the Monster Mile. All right, take a look at today's Ram trucks built to serve.
Yeah, track position is going to be so important. The 19 car won the race off pit road and has been leading this race. But if we have another pit stop, any of those guys beat him off pit road, the 18-11, I think they can win this race.
Final adjustments. This racetrack changes a great deal. See how much rubber's on that racetrack. Going to have to be right when the checker flag falls.
And I know we're talking about winning the race, but let's not forget this is a double header. And if your car has no damage, you're going to race it again tomorrow. So every car on the racetrack, if I'm the crew chief, I'm filling my notebook. Rick, what do we got to work on for tomorrow?
Clint Boyer's having a great run. Here he is trying to get around Brad Keselowski. Brad's been really out of shape. Clint gets right up to the back, gets him even looser. Off turn 4 to the inside. You know, Clint, he's not going to pass up any opportunities. With the season he's had, he's going to take every chance. Be aggressive.
Yeah, Boyer's up into the 4th position. So it is Joe Gibbs Racing 1, 2, 3. Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and then Boyer, Keselowski, Harvick, all driving Fords. Chase Elliott, the highest Chevrolet right now in 7th. Logano 8th. Jimmy Johnson 9th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 10th.
Big question now with 69 laps to go is when the leaders feel they'll have to pit if it does stay under green. 51 laps on the tires or green flag laps on the tires. So they're inside their fuel window. If you're going to try to split this up evenly on tires, you're going to pit in about 8 more laps. But like I said earlier, I have concern with that. This is a racetrack. We've seen mechanical failures. We've seen people spin and wreck getting to pit road. So, you know, if you have a race win, I think that gamble is real. But someone like Kyle Busch, can he take that gamble? Well,
look at loose.
Well,
Harvick was.
Might get a yellow right here.
That left front tire of Harvick's, man, was twitching, trying to control that car, and he did a great job not giving up the spot. Man, look at him moving. That left front tire is moving so much getting down in the corner. 18 car fading a little bit here.
Here comes
on
Denny
the long
Hamlin.
run.
Wonder if running that high line has hurt the tires.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason there's grip up there.
He's lost a little pace. Yeah, you're right, Steve. So explain to me what you mean by that.
So basically, you can see the color of the racetrack, how it's very, very dark at the bottom where all the cars run. That is that rubber being laid down, smeared into that rough concrete surface, making it smooth and slick. Up the racetrack, there's not as much tire tracks. You go up there, there's more grip, but guess what? It's taking more rubber off your tire to do it. So therefore, wearing the tires more, heating them up more, losing grip as you run.
And he hasn't been a little up the racetrack. He's been way up there.
Blazing the path.
Yes.
Remember, Junior, we used to have a rule. You cannot be the first one up there. That was the only rule.
Don't be the first one.
That's right.
Let somebody else go up there and put the rubber down.
Just for the record, as a competitor, you never followed that rule.
I did.
I was going to say, you're up against the wall about every racetrack.
It's so fast.
Literally, it was a rule without a punishment.
Yeah. Well, unless the right front tire came apart.
That one hurt.
Self-policing.
So, Steve, you mentioned it. Now 64 laps to go. They've been running for 56 laps since the stop earlier. We know that they could go about 90 as far as fuel.
Yeah, the big thing is, you know, they're running mid 25-second laps. New tires, you can run low 24-second laps. So tires are a big advantage. And that's why the chess game begins, right? Who will be first on pit road? Do you dare follow them? If you hesitate, just 4 or 5 laps. That's not very long. That's 2.5 minutes to catch. All right, let me get my wits about me. 2.5. In 2.5 minutes, you can lose 6 or 7 seconds to somebody that's already on new tires. So you have to have a plan. You have to communicate with your engineers. Remember, in COVID times, it's restricted crew members. A lot of the engineers are at home. You're commuting over communicating either over chat or over intercom. Have a plan. A lot of information coming to the crew chief. They're going to have to dissect it in a very pivotal part of the race right here.
So think about Kyle Busch. We've seen him falling a little bit, right? He's gotten slower. He's 3 seconds behind. Why not come on pit road early? Come on pit road. Try to get those new tires on quicker to make some of that ground up. He's in good shape in points. He's not guaranteed to be in the playoffs, but he's in really good shape. Be a good opportunity for a guy like that to try to make up some ground.
Kyle seems to be complaining about how loose his car is. Maybe having used that right rear tire up, trying to get that car to rotate off the top. 4-car of Kevin Harvick trying to run down Brad Keselowski for 5th place.
Kevin's not been happy with his car at all today. But still, as good as this race team is, still sitting here battling for 5th place.
He's coming to pit road. You hear him lifting, downshifting.
So it sounds like Harvick's going to be the first to pit road.
Using the motor to decelerate that car.
Chase Elliott also on pit road. Parker.
Right, Kevin Harvick, remember, was the first in the last round of green flag stops to come down pit road. Ronnie Childers electing to get those tires on as soon as possible. You see that adjustment right here? That's because he's still very tight inside that 4-car, Dave.
Remember, Chase Elliott started the day on the pole and led laps early, but the 9-car just hasn't been the same since a little bit of damage on track. He has asked how the car is now. He says it's okay. It's just kind of built up on both ends. 4 tires and fuel, Parker.
Jimmy Johnson had to go around the 38 there. John Hunt Nemechek. A little awkward into his box. You see the adjustment in the right rear. Still fighting tight landing for Jimmy Johnson. 4 tires as well.
Joey Logano is just a little bit loose in that 22 car, but the bigger problem now is when he exits the corner, the car doesn't want to turn. They're going to try to fix that, possibly with air pressure on the 22. Clint Boyer's on pit road as well. When they asked him about the balance, he said, fine, just let it go. So there'll be 4 tires of fuel for Boyer. Dylan?
Kyle Busch in as well at the top of your screen, saying that the car takes off really well, but as the run builds, feels like it doesn't compress on the right side. He gets loose. 4 tires and fuel and air pressure adjustment, Dave.
Ryan Blaney, another one of those Team Penske Mustangs. His car tight on the exit. It will not turn when he wants to exit the corner, so they'll make adjustments for Blaney's car. Here comes Denny Hamlin running P2 as this cycle continues. The 11 car a lot better than the 19 in turns 1 and 2, but he's really got to work on the 3 and 4, but he's been making progress as it goes along.
They had an issue on the right rear there, a little bit slow getting the right rear off for Denny Hamlin.
So as you see Denny Hamlin leaving the pit box right there, just in front of him, the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. I was wondering if the position for the lead was going to change on pit road, because Denny Hamlin got the pit road as good as I have seen anyone get the pit road at Dover. Look at this right here. Here's the 19 of Truex trying to come off the banking. He gets slowed down. Well, look at the 11 close on him. By the time they get to the pit road speed, he's only 1 car length behind the 19. It was 15, 20 car lengths on the racetrack. So a great job by the 11 of attacking that pit road that's so dangerous here and gaining on the 19. We'll have to just see if that time pays off as the race progresses.
Brad Keselowski scored as the race leaders. You see on the left side of your screen, Cole Custer has just come to pit road. 4 cars on the lead lap. Those 4 cars will still have to come to pit road.
So now the question is, does Brad Keselowski and Jeremy Bullins think their best bet to win this race? Remember, they have wins. Are they on the full gamble mode? Do they say, you know what? We can't beat them heads up. We're not going to chase them to pit road. What we're going to do is we're going to stay on the racetrack, and we're going to hope for a yellow. Look at the pylon on the left side. 4 cars, you just said, Rick, on the lead lap. So if the caution comes out now, those 4 cars get to come to pit road and race each other. Everyone a lap down. Now they'll get the waiver rate. But they'll have a big advantage as that car, though, Junior is full of, it's a handful, isn't it, buddy?
It is sideways.
That's the plan, though. I think that's the plan, what the 2's going to do. Run long, right? Just, I mean, what do they care if they run 5th or run 10th? Why, I know that sounds silly. They want to win races. They need to fill that bonus bucket.
And he's got to be aware of the cars around him that they have 4 fresh Goodyear tires, like Cole Custer in the 41, who's going by him now.
Yeah, I think the best thing to do when you're on these old tires and you know everybody behind you's got new tires is to run that higher line. They want to go around. They can easily do that.
So DiBenedetto has come to pit road. Dave.
Remember, they took the wave around. They had pitted on lap 160. The leaders had been on lap 188. The car was tight just mostly at about the 2/3 point in the corner. He'll now get those well-used tires off, put 4 fresh ones on, and Sunoco fuel to the end.
So again, strategy being played, Keselowski out front. We're going to go NASCAR nonstop.
We made USAA insurance for veterans like Liz and Mike, an Army family who's always at the ready. So when they got a little surprise, they didn't panic. They got a bigger car for their soon-to-be bigger family. After shopping around for insurance, they called USAA, who helped find the right coverage for them and even some much-needed savings.
That was the easy part.
USAA insurance is made the way Liz and Mike need it. Easy. USAA. What you're made of, we're made for.
Creamy ranch, sweet and sour, spicy buffalo, tangy barbecue. Each McNugget, a chance to diversify your sauce portfolio. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
From sandy blonde to jet black. When it comes to a great-looking gray-free beard, trust the new Just for Men. The easiest way to put your best face forward. The same great results in just 5 minutes at home. Just for Men mustache and beard. Be the better man you are and look the part.
PNC Bank believes that if you can get a pair of goggles that helps you master your backhand, then you should be able to get a bank account that helps you master your budget. Virtual Wallet is so much more than a checking account. Clearly see the big picture of your finances and easily manage and grow your savings.
You see that?
Virtual Wallet for digital banking from PNC. It's time to get more from your bank.
Awesome internet. It's more than just fast. It keeps all your devices running smoothly. With built-in security that protects your kids, no matter what they're up to. Protects your info and gives you 24/7 peace of mind. That if it's connected, it's protected. Even that pet camera thingy. Can your internet do that? Xfinity XFi can, because it's simple, easy, awesome.
Xfinity, proud premier partner of NASCAR.
The greatest spectacle in racing, Indy 500.
This could be stacking up into an all-timer.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby. Expect anything different? The St. Louis Blues are the Stanley Cup champions.
.45 to go in the NASCAR Cup Series Drydene 311 of Dover International Speedway. And a big day tomorrow, of course, the 104th running of the Indy 500. That will be on NBC starting at 1 p.m. Eastern. Marco Andretti is going to lead the field to the green for, again, the 104th running. And how about the Andretti family? So Mario and Michael are going to be in the Honda's fastest seat in sports, which is the 2-seater that goes around in front of the field. And then Marco will be leading the field. So pretty cool, the Andretti family be able to experience that. Actually, Mario joked, Michael thought he was going to be driving, and Mario said, no. There will not be, I will never drive in the passenger seat. I will be the one that is going to be driving. So a lot of fun from those guys.
Yeah, my buddy John Andretti would have loved to see Marco on the pole, and took so much pride in being an Andretti and what that meant. Be pulling for him tomorrow.
Yep, lost John way too soon. Right here, Austin Dillon still hasn't come to pit road, so he's being scored as the race leader. Has a 9-second lead over Martin Truex Jr., who has been on pit road. Denny Hamlin also. Kyle Busch, we have heard, might have an issue with the right front. We were listening into his radio a little while earlier. This is what he had to say.
Something wrong with the right front. Wheels are tight. Just won't turn, you're saying? Yeah, it's for first lap on the track. I babied it, and it turned fine. And then the next lap, it just didn't turn, and it hasn't turned again since.
So basically, you know, the first initial statement obviously had Adam Stevens' opinion. He looked at the data from their air guns. Hey, the wheels are tight, just won't turn. The comeback is that it's that, right? He doesn't think he has a flat tire or a tire coming apart or anything. It just doesn't drive like he wants. You know, Junior, we've seen this before, right? The last run, it's time to go. You leave pit road, you push your car a little bit a little bit farther into the corner. Maybe the adjustment wasn't just perfect, and now it sounds like the 18 is too tight for the final run.
Yeah, this is probably the most rubber that's been on the track all day long. The track is probably tighter because of that. Late in the day, the track always kind of tightens up through the race.
You almost got to make a change. Whoa, Bubba Wallace real loose off the corner. You almost have to make a change just to keep up with the track. You don't make a big enough change, the track rubbers up and it just gets tighter and tighter. And a tight race car at Dover, not turning the center of the corner is no fun. Just cannot make lap time. You just got to wait on the throttle before the car points.
Austin Dillon being scored the leader, but in second. Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin in third. Those two guys will cycle to the front when Austin does pit, unless we get a yellow. And Dave.
7 laps ago, right after the pit stops, Clint Boyer reported, I'm really tight right now for some reason. Another tight race car, right? And they haven't quite figured out what it is. Clint's saying, is there a difference in stagger between the tires? Is something going on? They report that it's mostly exit from what the spotter can see, but Clint right now is backing up a little bit.
Let's go back and watch Clint Boyer a few laps ago. Got Chase Elliott behind him, putting a lot of pressure on him. Got him really loose getting in the corner. Chase drives underneath him.
We're hearing all these tight race cars. I know this is crazy, but I've seen it before. Dale Jr., you mentioned all the rubber on the racetrack. That's not just affecting the tires and how they grip the racetrack, but that front splitter, super sensitive. And I've actually seen where that front splitter will run on these concrete racetracks and get gummed up with the rubber and almost grow, if you can believe it, like get a little thicker. And as it happens, you know, you hit the ground, goes up the racetrack. Right here we see the 3 of Austin Dillon, the 20 of Eric Jones. Eric unlapping himself in the 13th position. I kind of think about this as the race what could have been. Remember, he was in that first accident, damage to the left rear quarter panel. So when we talk about drivers that have a chance to make tomorrow better in this doubleheader weekend, Eric Jones is perhaps the driver I have circled the most. Dave, I assume they're going to go to a backup car with that much damage. We're just going to have to see later. But either way, making the most out of a rough start.
That's right. Attitude, 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 Steve. And guess what his attitude is going to be going to Daytona next week if they are in any position, points-wise. They know how to win there. So Jones is not out of this playoff picture yet and trying to make a good day out of what started poorly.
Yeah, minus 30, Rick, in 18th. I mean, I know, 30 sounds like a lot, but you just don't know. You just got to keep grinding, get the best you can. I mean, he is having a good day, and that damage has really cost him stage points, has struck out in stage points. If they can do this well with this much damage, be interesting to see how well he can do tomorrow with a fresh race car.
Yeah, Eric said this week when I talked to him that he really felt like he needed to be within 10 or 15 points of that cutoff line going to Daytona. He also mentioned that, 2 drivers behind them in points have won races. Right? That's put a tremendous amount of pressure on those teams, this team in particular. Well, that's hurt them and with an opportunity to make the playoffs.
Yeah, Jeff, look where his teammates are running right now, too. I mean, second, third, fourth to Austin Dillon, who's going to pit. That means they'll be running 1, 2, 3. So Joe Gibbs Racing has a pretty good setup here, a pretty good idea of what it takes to win on this racetrack. And right now, this is Martin Truex Jr. This is for the lead. And so Truex Jr. will drive by Austin Dillon before he even comes to pit road.
As I'm looking at that last pit, one thing that jumps out, I was just talking about Eric Jones and where he is in the points. Well, all the way down in 18th, William Byron at lap 187 as well. He has to pit as well. And when that happens for the 24, they're hoping for a yellow. They're trying to make most of the day. That's only going to help the 20. He's currently minus 30, but that is way up there to William Byron. Well, let me tell you, when the 24 hits pit road, that's going to just give Eric Jones more points and make this fight back with a damaged race car more valuable.
Steve, we talked about it when we came on TV today, how important this race was. And it's playing out with William Byron. They have had a bad race, and now they're going to have a great race tomorrow to try to make up for it. Dylan.
Austin Dillon coming into the pits, again pitting from second on the racetrack, but he'll cycle out a little further down the leaderboard than that. Just reporting that he's been getting tight again over the course of the run. You saw the chassis adjustment there, the wrench in the right rear window, 4 tires and fuel for Austin Dillon.
All right, now that cycles Martin Truex Jr. to the lead. You saw him pass the 3. Now Hamlin is in second. There's the lead. But the situation is difficult for Truex because right in front of him right there, Ryan Blaney, that's not a slow race car. Truex is lapping a lot of cars on this racetrack, and starting to get into lapping 13th place, 14th place. They'll be a little more difficult to get around as you see him trying to fight to get around the outside of this 12 car. Denny closing in within a second. That is what's going to decide this race. How Trix can get through the lap traffic. Without a caution, that is Denny's only hope, is to catch that 19 car in traffic. Parker.
And Dale, he just come across the radio recently complaining about some of the traffic, and the team was wheeling him on and wheeling him through that traffic, and especially his spotter to say, come on, we can get him here. So definitely pushing him through that traffic right now.
Yeah, it's easy to get around some of these cars, but as he gets into the faster cars, that air from those faster cars is what will slow him down. Now the 11 car's dealing with that same issue as he's trying to lap this 12 car of Ryan Blaney. He's got to find a way around him quickly so that he doesn't lose that advantage. And you see it, the gap growing as Denny is struggling. Now they're side by side. Denny's going to have to go 3 wide here. Put himself in an uncomfortable entry, very low into the corner. That's all plays a big role. The ebb and flow of that lead gap goes from 1 second to 1.5 seconds, just like that.
Let's go back in car. Watch what Martin Truex Jr. does to get by Blaney. Drives in the corner, goes to the outside. Listen to the throttle. Boom, goes to the throttle quicker than he normally would to get to that right rear quarter panel of the 12 car Blaney. He would never get in the throttle that soon unless he was just trying to jump up on the outside of Blaney. He had to get back off the throttle, but he wanted Blaney to know, I'm here, I got the spot. He wanted to take the air off Blaney's spoiler, get him freed up. Those are the kind of moves that you have to make as a driver. It's not always about making lap time. Sometimes it's about just putting your car in the right situation.
Does it add insult to injury as we see William Byron on pit road now? But does it add insult to injury when Martin Truex Jr. went by him, he was waving at him? He waved at him like, hey, thanks.
Well, he waved at him, yeah, as in appreciation for giving him that lane. He could have made him work a lot harder to get around him. I think that, it's the track where you get it lapped often. It's a very short track, 1 mile. Not uncommon to be lapping, 10th through 15th place.
Well, right now there are only 12 cars on the lead lap. Eric Jones is the last car.
That's a lot of traffic right here in front of Martin. The 10 car, competitive. Look at Martin chew him up though in the middle of the corner.
Yeah, Eric Almirola's not had a good day. He's already a lap down, back in 18th place.
Martin couldn't get into the gas off the corner there on the inside of the 96.
Just to clean up what we were talking about, you see on the left-hand side the 20 of Jones, now minus 21 with that pit stop from William Byron. So the bubble line has not gotten any clearer. One race in. Different names have moved around, but it's anything but clear.
Eric Jones in 12th, the last car on the lead lap, in a really, really good position, sitting there 21 points out. I know he thinks he needs to win, but it's not out of the, not out of question for him to actually come out of this race tomorrow in great position or in the playoffs.
So this 10 car, remember, we said he hadn't had a good day. Remember, he had to pit under green with a loose wheel. That got him behind, but we've seen all year long, Eric Almirola in this 10 car is fast. So that is going to be a difficult pass for Martin Truex Jr. We'll see how hard Eric races him. He is already 1 lap down.
Martin suffering from a lack of downforce and comfort, having to run behind this 10 car, not able to catch him, not able to pass him.
And Eric's running the line that he wants to be running. Yep. Martin's been on the bottom, and that's where Eric's running. Martin would love to see Eric go to the top, give him a little bit of clean air.
Look at all these cars. This is going to cost Martin a ton of time. Hamlin's a second back right now.
Well, this set of corners right here, it's going to be 4 or 5 car lengths for the 19. When he comes off there in that traffic, look at that 11, the white car up against the fence, trying to get that momentum.
Oh, Martin couldn't get to the throttle on the inside of the 13.
Yeah, but for those guys being the way they were when he caught them, I think he's going to be pretty happy he got through them as clean as he did.
Gap is closed, though. The 11 gaining a bit on that 19.
Now they're catching Eric Jones up there, also in 12th place. So these passes are going to get more and more difficult. Going to slow that 19 of Martin Truex down. When will Martin have to change his line? See Hamlin up there on the top. When is Martin going to have to do that? Dave.
And Chris Gabehart, Denny Hamlin's crew chief, wants those 5 bonus playoff points bad. He wants him to win this race. 5 laps ago, he told him, lock in, machine. And right after that, he started searching the top, looking for a way to catch the 19, Parker.
And the reason he may be catching is Martin Truex Jr. came across the radio once again and said he's too loose on the bottom. We've seen this throughout the runs today. As they get about 30 laps in the run, that 19 car shifts to the loose side, and it's up to Martin to manage it, knowing that it's fastest around the bottom.
We'll be talking to a lot of the drivers during the post-race. That's NASCAR America post-race show after the race here on NBCSN. Krista, Kyle, and DJ will give you all that information and get you set up for tomorrow's race. Remember, this will be the middle of the doubleheader.
I'm telling you, if Martin Truex Jr. doesn't find a way to get around this 10 car, the 11's going to get there. You see it closing in. Truex running that bottom in that dirty air. Even that distance right there is hurting that 19 car. Denny hoping that he can make that top work. Look at the run off the top Denny gets. Truex suffering right now, struggling on that bottom. I'm surprised as you, Jeff Burton, that he's not trying to go to the top to try to make something work.
He's complaining about being loose. Maybe he's afraid he's going to be even looser up there on the top. But there you go. There it is right there. Move to the top. Hamlin got close enough to him to force his hand. He had to try something different.
Let's see how that works out. It might take a few laps for a driver to sort of understand how to run that top. What are the inputs that he needs to use? Denny already knows that.
Yeah, no, right there, saw Truex kind of run the middle. Didn't really run the top or the bottom. That didn't work out well for him at all.
Running the same line as you, actually. He went higher. You gonna block him in behind that car up there. Come on, go on in here. Clear, clear, clear.
Yeah, I didn't really like that communication because that's not what happened down in 3 and 4 the lap before.
Oh, the lap car here might hurt Truex on corner exit. He's able to open the wheel up, get off the corner, but cost him a little bit of speed. Denny, a great run down the front straightaway off the top. Denny using that high line to create that momentum.
Truex went all the way to the bottom that lap.
Riding inside here with Martin Truex Jr.
See that middle lane right there? I'm just not a big fan of that. I think the 11's going to get a big run on corner exit. Yeah, that middle lane just doesn't work.
For the lead, here comes the 11. All over the back bumper, the 19.
He's loose. Big loose. He doesn't want that 11 to get to his right rear quarter panel.
You're still clear by one, clear by one.
Now go up the racetrack right here. Don't go to the bottom. Don't go to the middle for sure.
Oh, he goes to the bottom, the 11. If the 11 gets to the outside, that's Denny's position.
Momentum. Denny goes to the inside. Trying to make a pass.
Inside.
Clears the 19, slides up the racetrack. The 19 not giving up. He fights back on the outside, but Denny Hamlin has the spot.
Denny just took what he needed. Forced Martin to get out of the gas.
Martin just does not have the rear security. Look how loose he is. Just cannot get the rear lateral grip he's looking for. Got a report from Parker saying he gets looser as that run goes on, and that's exactly what's happened. Now Denny's got to deal with Eric Almirola.
Yeah, I think Denny, though, has the comfort in his car and the understanding of that high line and using it well to be able to get around him relatively easy. We'll see how that works out.
I was amazed the fight that 19 could put up with as loose as that car was. When you went on board, he was 90 degrees turned to the right at times.
Denny's got some great speed right here. Truex trying to put something together, trying to rebound, trying to put some corners together. He knows how hard it is to get around that 10. He's been trying.
Kyle Busch is 5.7 seconds back from Denny Hamlin. And with just under, well, about 6 laps to go now for Hamlin to the end of this race, Martin Truex Jr., as long as his laps continue the way he is, he's going to finish 1 spot better than he has the last 5 races. It was 1,000,000 to 1 odds that Martin Truex Jr. could finish 3rd the last 5 races. Well, he did.
There you go. The 11 gets to the outside of the 10. And he's happy about that. He's got some clean air in front of him now, all the way up there to his teammate.
And now that he's gone 2 laps down, Eric Almirola, he's going to get out of the way. He was fighting hard, to keep from going more than 1 lap down. But once he went that, now is nothing for him to gain. He went ahead and got out of the way for Martin Truex Jr.
Under 5 laps to go. And the gap staying about the same between Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. Maybe one last effort, one last gasp, but trying to get back up there for this win.
You see the speed that Truex can carry through the middle of the corner, but he cannot complete it. So the line that Hamlin's running allows him to carry so much speed on corner exit, and his car's driving better. You just said, look at Truex behind him. Just no rear grip at all.
3 laps to go.
Look at that. You can physically see the 19 car, the back of the car moving around. How about Denny Hamlin, guys?
Incredible.
He is having an incredible year.
Yeah, I mean, a track he's never won at, right? So he's going to come prove his point that he can now win at tracks that we have yet to see him find success. There's only 9 on the list. The 8 after today if he's able to finish these last 2 laps off.
Yeah, I know he had to pass Martin Truex Jr. to win this race, but won all the stages as well.
23 races into this year, 13 top 5s. That's a career record for Denny Hamlin.
1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. He's seen the white flag again, 5 wins already in 2020. Looks as though he's going to tie Kevin Harvick for the most wins in 2020. Harvick has 6. Denny Hamlin looking for his 6. As you mentioned, he had never won at the Monster Mile before. Momentum definitely on his side as Denny Hamlin comes out of 4. And Denny Hamlin will once again see the checkered flag. He wins at the Monster Mile.
How about that, baby? No words over down from me. We are winners here. Awesome. Swept the race. Great job, guys.
Checkered flag moment brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Denny Hamlin said the one thing that has been difficult during the COVID-19 pandemic is that he wants to be able to celebrate with his team. He wants to be able to celebrate with the guys who he knows that are surrounding him, that are helping him, making him as good as he is. He wants them to be able to celebrate and cherish these wins just like he is. Great chemistry between driver and crew chief for this 11.
Denny, take care of that thing. We got to win tomorrow with it.
He's like, don't do a burnout.
That's exactly what Chris Gabehart was inferring. Guys, we've got another one tomorrow.
This team, they have positioned themselves as the clear favorite. I know Harvick and Rodney Childers have something to say about that, but these guys are rolling. A great battle for the lead right here. Truex, really loose car, trying to figure out what to do with it. Goes to the bottom of the racetrack, then gets stuck in the middle, and look at the run Denny Hamlin got. Truex not able to go back to the throttle. Denny Hamlin makes the pass for the lead.
Another 1-2-3 finish for Joe Gibbs Racing. Hamlin, Truex Jr., and Kyle Busch. Denny Hamlin once again wins, and we'll talk to him in Victory Lane when we return. Denny Hamlin continuing to put together a Hall of Fame career. And still the one thing missing, a championship. Last year, going into it, it looked as though Denny Hamlin was the favorite. As much momentum as he had going into Miami. 43 wins now for Denny Hamlin. And he's second only to Junior Johnson. Most wins without a championship. He definitely wants to change that.
He's just got to get his mask on.
But he just continues to win races. And this team getting better and better. And Denny Hamlin is very good at Phoenix. There's a racetrack that we know he's able to win at. That's where the championship is determined. He climbs out in Victory Lane. And we'll celebrate. Check that track off of the list. Dave?
Then taking a look at that number 11 car, and this is as close as it gets. You guys just talked about it, the fact that it's a little rough for DH not to be able to celebrate with his mates here in Victory Lane, but you know, they get a fist bump there. That was an amazing run back to the front. And Chris asked you to be a machine late in the race. What was it like finding that line to beat your teammate?
Yeah, I've been running down the leaders these last few weeks, but I haven't been able to get there. But, you know, we just didn't control that restart there. And, you know, we just had to battle back. We had to go back and get it. And, you know, just was able to work the top line there a little bit to get some momentum. And it looked like our car was just a little bit better at moving around different lines. But proud of this whole FedEx office team. This has just been this Camry was fast today. It was just unbelievable how good it was. Pit crew did an amazing job. Got to thank all the partners, Toyota, Coca-Cola, the Drydene brand, FedEx, all the employees. Appreciate it. And win 43. This is pretty awesome.
And it's pretty awesome that you won here finally at the Monster Mile after 29 times, Denny. What does that mean to you?
Well, people always ask, you know, when you have Q&As, you know, what's your least favorite track? And I always say Dover just because I'm not that good here. I love the track. I just haven't been very good here. But, you know, we just have unbelievable cars right now. It just seems like, you know, we're coming to the racetrack prepared. I'm putting the work in, and we're getting results because of it.
You talk about putting the work in. Chris Gabehart told me he always encourages everyone to compete with themselves. What are you doing, Denny, to make sure that you stay on top of your game?
Yeah, just working hard. Working as hard as I ever have, and you know, I can't complain about anything right now. It seems like we just got things going, and you know, I got faith. I just got faith when it comes down to it on that last run. When he says go get it, I just go get it.
Faith in himself, faith in the car, faith in the team. Another win for the FedEx bunch here this year, and the first at the Monster Mile, Rick.
I feel bad for the competition if he's not very good at this racetrack. And he was able to do what he just did, passing his teammates for the win. As we take a look at the Coca-Cola winning moment, that pass on Martin Truex Jr. setting him up, running the high line. That momentum carrying him in front of Martin Truex Jr. And Chris Gabehart's happy about it. Denny Hamlin goes on and gets his 6th checkered flag of the 2020 season. All right, look at the playoff standings. Now only 2 races to go until the playoffs begin. That regular season championship out there up for grabs. Denny Hamlin adding to his points total. 37 playoff points. Kevin Harvick, 35 playoff points. Both of them with 6 wins and 3 points separating now Jimmy Johnson and William Byron. Those 2 right there on either side of the cutoff line. 3 points. Finishing in second, Martin Truex Jr. One spot better than he had the past 5 races. Parker spoke with him moments ago.
Martin Truex Jr. finishes second, and Martin, you just got too loose there then. What number do you need to hold off the 11?
Really, I mean, I think if, you know, if the 10 car just wasn't pinning it on the bottom in front of me, I'd have been fine. And, you know, every time I try to move up, get some air in my car, he'd just slide up in front of me like an idiot. So, you know, he's the reason we lost the lead. But in the end, we weren't good enough. You know, I thought the 11 was better than us all day long. We got the lead there in the pits and was able to use clean air to our advantage. So I was never happy with the car all day long. You know, Sirius XM Camry was fast, but it was the balance was all over the place. And, you know, it was firing off tight and getting really loose in long runs. So at the end, just nothing I could do, just out of control sideways.
It looked like you were holding on. We went to your onboard. You were stealing full 90 degrees opposite lock coming off the corners. I mean, how do you hold on to it, and how do you fix it for tomorrow knowing you got to do this all over again?
I know we can definitely make it better. I mean, I'd hate to say we can't. I mean, it was pretty far off for what I like here. So we'll keep working on it. But, you know, overall solid day again.
Martin Truex breaks the streak of 3rd place finishes.
Yeah, and all smiles for Denny Hamlin. Martin Truex Jr. obviously finishing in the 2nd spot. It was 3rd the last 5 races. So momentum is on his side as well. He's already been to victory lane in 2020, so he will be headed into the playoffs as well. So the first race of the doubleheader wraps up. Denny Hamlin and Joe Gibbs Racing looking very strong in this. Let's go to the drivers, and we'll start with you, Jeff. Were you expecting what we saw today as far as the handling that these guys had and fighting the tire?
Yeah, after watching the Xfinity race earlier today, I did think it was going to be like that. Cars moving around a lot. On top of that, lower downforce, more horsepower. So, yeah, not a big surprise. But Denny Hamlin, I mean, 6 wins so far this year. He and his crew chief, Chris Gabehart, are hitting on all cylinders. Big day for Joe Gibbs Racing. the top 3. That's positive momentum. I know Kyle Busch wants to win, but a good run for him today. So a really strong day for Joe Gibbs Racing. Can they build on it tomorrow? Can they do this again tomorrow? And who else can step it up and find a way to be a little bit better to race against these Gibbs cars?
Yeah, and on top of that, the bubble battle got even more compelling. Matt DiBenedetto lost a few points. Byron obviously slipped out of the playoffs. Jimmy Johnson steps in to the playoffs. Byron lost 28 points to Johnson today. And Eric Jones, I mean, he's not out of this at all either. Gained quite a few points today. So the great thing about it is usually this happens, and then we got to wait a week until we see what happens next. No, we got to wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow we get to re-rack them and see what these guys can do to avoid disaster or even improve on what they're doing.
Yeah, only have to wait about 20 hours to find out what's going to happen. And so, Steve, we see obviously some great racing here. Now, as far as the crew chief goes, what can these teams do overnight? What can they change on the cars? What can they work on for tomorrow's race?
Well, the first thing they need to do is see if this is the car they're racing. I know there are some cars that are obvious with damage. They'll be going to backup cars, but you have to kind of look at it. It might not be body work. Maybe something underneath the hood or underneath the back of the car is broken. That's unrepairable. They'll have to see if they can run this car. And then once you check that box, then it is how do we make our car better? There were cars I expected to run better today. I know Christopher Bell doesn't have Cup experience, but back at 22nd, I was expecting better. Matty D, as they mentioned, finished 20th. He'll be the pole sitter for tomorrow's race. Can they capitalize on that track position? Or a guy like Jimmy Johnson? Mission accomplished. Good day in the points, kept track position all day. Can Jimmy Johnson take a 7th place finish, a 7th place car, and make the improvements to run with the likes of Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr.?
We've been referencing the fact that the Xfinity race was run earlier. They also had a doubleheader. It was called earlier today. And Jeff, you and Steve, you kind of took the morning off, but you're going to be back at it tomorrow with DJ for that Xfinity Series race. What are you expecting?
Well, I think we're going to see another really good Xfinity race. I think that, especially in the Xfinity Series, a lot of young drivers, I think that having a race today that they can build on as we're looking now at a
loose lug.
Yeah, loose lugs on the 11 car. But the Xfinity guys, I think, will be a really good race because of the experience that so many of them gained today that they can apply to tomorrow. No practice, I think, really affects the Xfinity Series more than the Cup Series because of the lack of experience.
So it looks to me right there, they were looking at that left rear wheel. We just showed it. There was one lug nut not pulled up. That's been pretty standard. That's a small fine for the crew chief. It looks like the other 4 are pretty well installed in my mind. So nothing that's going to affect the finish of this race. Just take a little bit of change out of the pocket of the crew chief, Chris Gabehart. I think that's about a $10,000 fine.
That's easy for you to say when it's not coming out of your pocket.
What are you talking about? I'd lean on the guy that just won the race and be like, "Hey, buddy, you've won a lot this year. I'm gonna look for you for this one."
Well, coming up, we'll have Krista, Kyle, and DJ will be giving us continued post-race coverage, hearing from more drivers, talking about today's race, and looking forward to tomorrow, the second day of the doubleheader for both Xfinity and Cup.
Welcome into the NASCAR America post-race show. Dover, Delaware, the site of today's first of 2 weekend Cup Series races. The monster looming large outside the track, and that is your race-winning car, Denny Hamlin, the number 11 FedEx Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing as the team pushes it back into the garage. And that car's going to be busy because, yeah, it has to go to work again tomorrow. That is the big story with these double-header races. Here in the studio with Kyle Petty and Dale Jarrett. And Kyle, I guess Denny Hamlin sort of called his shot, or Chris Gabehart, the crew chief, did. He said, go, it's your time, because those 5 playoff points, that's what it's all about. Denny has wins. Now he has 6 total, but it's those playoff points as we get closer to the regular season ending.
Yeah, for a team like Denny Hamlin's, for a team like Kevin Harvick's, it's about playoff points. You know, the wins, they just keep stacking them up. We've seen this over the last 2 or 3 years between Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch and Martin Truex, those guys. But the interesting part was some of Denny's comments in that post-race interview a little bit. I have faith. I have faith I can get it done. They have faith in me that we can get it done. When they say go, I go. And that was pretty much cut and dry. We remember a few years ago when he said, all I do is win, win, win. Well, he's doing the same thing again this year. All he's doing is win, win, win. And he has faith in himself and faith in that team.
Yeah, I said in the pre-race that he's doing some, in my opinion, his best driving of his career. And I think that there's a lot of things that go into that. And whenever you have a day like today at this racetrack where tire management comes back into play, we don't hear that very much with all the downforce that they have with the other package of where they've got downforce, side force, the tires are good. You don't have to worry about that. But whenever you come with this 750 package and you have to maintain the tire that you have, Denny Hamlin's one of the best at doing that, and that's showcased today. So yes, I agree. They're chasing those 5 playoff points every week that they can, but I've seen Denny Hamlin's house. It's big. He wants to fill it up with trophies, so he's also chasing those.
Yeah, listen, my dad always said that. He said, when you walk through this house, you don't see points, you don't see money, you see trophies. That's what it's all about. And he's exactly right. But, you know, I think if you go back to pre-race, when Dale and I sat here and talked to Dale Jr. about what they had witnessed in the Xfinity race and the cars being so incredibly loose. Then you turn them loose in the Cup Series with more power, with less downforce, and you put it back in the hands of the drivers. And Dale talked about tire management. We saw Truex sideways, backwards, on the gas, off the gas, stabbing and steering. I mean, this was a race right out of about 1978. When you watch it, I know it was a short race, 311 laps, compared to the 500 miles they run in. But I'm telling you, some of these guys run more like a 400-lap race, steering all the way to the right. We heard Parker talk about all full lock to the right and back. That was the exciting part for me about watching these races. So many times we say, it's all about the car, it's all about the car. Put it back in the hands of the drivers. This was a race where a large majority of the race was back in the hands of the drivers to get the most out of a car that was not perfect.
You see Kyle Busch talking to his crew chief, Adam Stevens. It was a 1-2-3 sweep for Joe Gibbs Racing. They did that 4 times last year, including the title race at Miami, which, of course, Kyle Busch won and went on to win the championship. Kyle Busch still looking for his first win of the season. Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick, they just keep answering each other now at 6 wins. But now that the focus really sort of shifts to these 6 names in white from 11th to 16th, as they are the ones fighting for those 6 open tickets. Now just 2 regular season races left. So let's hear from one of those drivers who certainly made gains today. Parker Kligerman caught up with one.
Jimmy Johnson finished his 7th, but more importantly, 7 stage points, and you're now +3 on your teammate in the playoffs over William Byron. Feels pretty good.
Yeah, it does feel good. You know, we had just a solid day, so it's nice to kind of run there in the top 10. I wish we had a little bit more for the lead guys, but this new tire really threw us for a loop. We spent all day working on it and got a little bit closer there at the end. So, but, you know, good start to the doubleheader. Looking forward to another race tomorrow with the Ally Chevrolet.
And let's talk about tomorrow. You had this great run. You had the good run at Daytona. It seems like a little momentum here, rumbling towards the end of the regular season. I know there's a lot of pressure on you guys, but if you pull off the same thing you did today, you should be in a very good position going to Daytona. How do you make it better?
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's a tough race and a lot can happen. But, you know, keeping it within 100% for myself and the team is the important thing. I think, you know, truth be told, we've been probably a 5th to 10th place car throughout the year, and I've been trying to do more than that, making mistakes. So, you know, if we just, you know, use our head tomorrow and race smart, good clean stops, I think we can get a bit more of a cushion.
A big points haul for Jimmy Johnson's 48 team today.
And he mentions that all-important word, cushion. If I'm doing the math here, I know Kyle likes to do these the math equations. I'm going to need to be an expert in first-grade math this year, by the way. So Jimmy went in 25 points down from the cut. He's now 3 up. So Kyle, he 28, right? He gained 28 points today. How did my math turn out?
I'm going to take your word for it. I'm going to take your higher authority. But yes, that's about a 28-point swing. And we heard what Jimmy said. It was a solid day for him. That's what they needed. If you can't get a win, get a solid day when you're in that position. And I think they capitalized on it. They capitalized on when they saw what was going on with the 24 car, their closest competitor. When they saw what was going on with William Byron and Chad Knaus, they just ran with it. And it was a great day. And we heard him say, we've had a 5th to 10th place car, but we've made a lot of mistakes trying to make more out of it and trying to get more out of it. They took what was handed to them today, and they'll have an opportunity to come back tomorrow.
Yeah, he also was able to gain 20 points on Matt DiBenedetto, and so that brought with Matt having a bad day, really, and not performing very well. They tried some different strategies to keep themselves in it, but ended up not performing very well. So that's brought him back into this mix of talking about that. This is setting up for something fascinating that we've talked about for years, but it's actually going to be a reality next Saturday night in Daytona, that's going to be the cutoff race for the regular season. So a lot of things shaping up here, but I think Jimmy Johnson did exactly what he was looking for. He'll make some improvements on that race car and then probably try to get a little bit more out of it tomorrow, possibly to see if they can compete with those Toyotas.
And there is pressure on his shoulders, but again, this is a 7-time champion. He sort of thrives on that pressure. There's not a situation that he really hasn't been in, so he should sleep well tonight, knowing, like you guys talked about in the pre-race show, that he has another chance, 2 bites at the apple tomorrow. But this bubble talk is going to continue both for tomorrow's race, again at Dover, and next weekend at Daytona. One of those drivers in that mix is Eric Jones.
Eventful day for Eric Jones, brings it home in the 12th spot. You had that left rear quarter panel damage from, I think, lap 1. So how did that change your day today?
Yeah, I mean, it hurt it. I mean, first off, I want to say apologize to Kurt and the whole one team. I got into him there lap 1 or 2 by mistake. I got tight and ended their day really quick and feel bad. I've raced with Kurt now for a while, and we've never had an issue and raced really well. So I want to say sorry to them first, but our day was kind of tough from there on. We had to cut the left rear quarter off it after that. And, I think that hurt our balance a little bit. I mean, it's not like night or day, but definitely didn't help. The DeWalt Camry was just kind of back and forth. It was mostly loose all day. And we tightened it up and never really could seem to make a difference on it. So hopefully we can use the same car and come back tomorrow.
Yeah, and I know you haven't had a ton of time to assess the damage, but initial thoughts on whether you'll be able to run this car or have to go to the backup?
Yeah, it's kind of a 50-50 shot. I mean, the other 3 don't have any damage, I don't think. So, hopefully we can kind of put all our hands there on our car and get a left rear stabbed on it. So I guess I'm going to go find out here in about a couple of minutes, but hopefully we can get it back patched up and not have to start at the back.
Fairly solid points day for this guy. He's closing that gap. Eric Jones comes home 12th today.
Yeah, he is closing the gap, but I guess my question to you, Dale, is it enough? I mean, do they need to be swinging for the fences, or do they need to just play it conservative for these next 2 races?
Well, I think that tomorrow they try to get as many stage points as they possibly can. I think tomorrow's about, he's probably not, and I'm not sure anybody's going to outrun his teammates as they finished 1, 2, 3 today. I think Kevin Harvick will make some adjustments to get there. But speaking of Eric Jones, get as many stage points if you can gather that tomorrow, if indeed they're able to fix this car and start up there to where that enables them to be able to do that. Close that gap as much as you can, because as we've seen, we keep talking about Daytona, and it's going to be the talk as to everything that can happen. I mean, you can make up or lose 10, 12 spots in the final couple of laps at Daytona, so anything can happen there. Do what you can do there. Eric Jones has actually won at Daytona in what was the July race and now the August race, so he knows how to get that done. So there's a lot of possibilities, but first and foremost is to gain as many points as you possibly can to that cut line tomorrow, to that number 16 spot.
Yeah, and listen, I see, and that's what this race was all about, is what Dale just explained. But I'm going to take from my perch on the grassy knoll here. I just heard Eric Jones apologize to Kurt Busch. Maybe he should have apologized to Chip Ganassi, because Eric doesn't have a ride next year. The 42 car is open next year. So maybe that's where he needs to be headed, because maybe he's apologizing to his next year's teammate. You never know. But at the same time, Eric has to look in the mirror and say, my 3 teammates finished 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. You know what I mean? I have put myself in a bad position in this first race. I don't swing for the fence. I've just got to get some solid runs under my belt the rest of the year, gain some points, show people that I can get this job done, and go out and do it.
Our NBC studio has relocated to the Dealey Plaza as Kyle makes his campaigning there. Kyle Busch coming up. We're going to hear from him. He had a great day. Again, Joe Gibbs Racing finishing 1, 2, 3. We'll also hear from Chase Elliott. Some more players from Dover coming up. Doubleheader weekend at Dover. Denny Hamlin, today's race winner. We'll do it all over again tomorrow. Denny Hamlin telling Dave Burns he is working as hard as he ever has as he chases his first Cup Series championship. 6 wins on the season. But let's hear from some more drivers today at Dover. Dylan caught up with one.
Kyle Busch comes home in the 3rd spot today. You guys were battling the balance all afternoon long. What happened there on the last run ultimately?
Yeah, we had, I don't know. I don't know what happened. We have to figure that out. But, you know, we had a pretty fast Interstate Batteries Camry. We made it all the way up front and did a good job there. The time that we put tires on under green, car was really fast, really good. So I was optimistic keeping up with Truex that once we got tires on it, I could maybe keep up or be faster. And it just, we were so tight at the end. I mean, it went from being 4 or 5 numbers loose to 4 or 5 numbers tight. I mean, a 10-number swing and just putting tires on. So crazy how that happens. But come home with a good, solid 3rd place, I guess. And, you know, got 2 good teammates here, notebook and everything that they got to lean on. Hopefully we can work on some things for tonight and get ourselves better and try to come out here and win tomorrow.
How tough is this place when you have a car that's as bad on the scale as yours was?
Yeah, I mean, you don't know what to adjust, you know? I mean, the beginning of the race, we were loose. We tightened it up, and it was plowing tight the next run. And then we freed it up a little bit, and it was loose the next run. You know, we put tires on it under green, and it was fine. And it just, so every single run, it was back and forth, and it was crazy. There's just no keeping up with it. Try to do what you can and the best you can with what you got, and that's all we had.
They salvaged a good day out of it, though, 3rd today for Kyle Busch.
Kevin Harvick restarts his streak of top 5 finishes with a 4th place finish, but it was not easy from the outside by any means. You guys had to come down pit road, come all the way from the back, and then it just seemed like you guys were stuck in that 4th to 6th place zone.
Yeah, we just, we fought everything all day with our Mobile 1 Ford Mustang. We had a lot of trouble on pit road. We could not get the front of our car to turn up off the corner, and then, you know, at the end, it started just sliding the back everywhere, and it wouldn't turn off the corner. So we definitely have some work to do. The guys did a great job hanging in there and battling back through all the adversity today, but definitely not where we wanted to be.
When I look back at this race, and I think some of you guys will too, is that run where you went from the back all the way to just outside the top 5. How do you find that for tomorrow through the whole race?
Yeah, well, you know, I think the first run of the race, even the second run of the race there after we got the penalty, you know, our tight race car was okay when everybody else was really loose, and then it kind of swung the other way. Everybody got a little bit tighter, and we got even tighter yet than what we started. So we just got to figure out where to start our balance for tomorrow.
Definitely just finding the balance of the Ford car will be the key for tomorrow.
5th today for Chase Elliott. Eventful day. You were at the back at one point, able to come back forward. How would you kind of sum up the day for you?
Yeah, we just we started too far off there at the beginning and had to come in and take an extended pit stop there to get things right. But I feel like our team did a really good job to get things really close after that. We just got a little too far behind, I think, to run with those guys, and I think we still probably need a little bit to run with Martin and Denny. So yeah, just got behind and took it took the rest of the day to even get back to where we did. So I think we have a little work to do overnight. I'm looking forward to getting our Napa Camaro on track tomorrow and trying to improve. I think we were in the ballpark. We just still needed just a little bit to run with Denny and Martin.
Do you feel like you learned enough today that you guys can apply that to the start of the race tomorrow and be a little better?
I hope so. I mean, I'm sure the same guys will be back to the front, you know, by mid-race, like always. So, you know, that being said, everybody's going to be a little better tomorrow, and you know, this is a really sensitive racetrack, and a little bit here or there can make you be a long ways off. We didn't miss it much there at the beginning, but man, we were really bad. And then once we got back in traffic, obviously the clean air kind of covered it up. But once we got back in traffic, just really bad, and made some small changes relatively, and then felt like was decent. So just need to be a tick better for tomorrow.
Thanks, Chase. Yeah.
So there you heard from the drivers finishing in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Chase Elliott saying we were in the ballpark, but they all said, Dale, we have work to do. Of the 3, is there someone or something that jumped out at you in those interviews?
Yes, the main thing that jumped out at me was probably the most energetic and happy 3rd place interview that Kyle Busch has ever done. And I say that, you know, with confidence that he is turning things around, and you could tell in his voice that it was so much better for him to run good. That gave him that confidence. Even though it was still his two teammates that outran him, he had moments that he knew that his car was just as fast as anybody else there. That's what he's been looking for. Now they'll talk, make some changes to the car, and hopefully give him the car that he needs tomorrow. But just seeing him competitive again, I think that's the thing that stands out. Kevin Harvick is, he's going to be competitive every week, and these are, we've seen this top 5 be the drivers that seem to be able to, on a weekly basis, be there and be in contention, and you wonder if that's where our champion probably will come from, or is that top 5 today?
Yeah, that's great to point that out, because I believe that. Those 5 guys there have been the consistent guys. And I agree with Dale. Watching that interview with Kyle, you knew that he had put in a ton of work to be able to have a solid day today. Really focused on where he needs to be, focused on the end of the season, focused on the playoffs, focused on where he needs to be, and he sees some progress, some light at the end of the tunnel. So I applaud him. That was a great interview. The other thing I took away from it was he talks about, we had the tires, it went from a 5 loose to a 5 tight, or a 5 tight to a 5 loose. That's old school. That's bias ply tires, old school, man. You came down pit road, crossed your fingers, crossed your toes, and hope you got a matched set of tires to go back on, because you can't adjust a car to tires that you don't know what's going on in the car. But then you have to get up on the wheel and drive. And I think Kyle got up on the wheel today and drove that thing, and that was very impressive. Chase, we take Chase. I think Chase, it's funny, Dale, I said to Dale when they dropped the green flag, was Chase the only one that took the green flag? Because he was a half a straightaway ahead when we got to the backstretch. And I also said to Dale, sitting in there a minute ago, look at there. There's Kevin Harvick in 4th. They haven't talked about him all day long. That's a Kevin Harvick bad day. For he and Rodney Childers, when they miss it a little bit, somehow they still come home with a top 3, top 4, top 5. That's why he's a championship driver, and the caliber of driver and the caliber of team that he and Rodney have put together.
Yeah, Chase Elliott was a big fan of the way our friend Mike Bagley dropped that green flag at the start of the race. Kyle, what's the coffee count? Because I know one of the things we do on the post-race show, we like to tie up loose ends. Steve Letarte wanted to know how many cups of coffee you had today.
Yeah, and Steve misinterpreted that, and I heard him off air. He said 5 cups. That's wrong. As you guys know, Morgan and I just had a new baby, and Cotton as our new family member. I've had 5 pots since midnight. 5 pots. Not 5 cups, 5 pots. So we got the number right. We just missed on the cup versus a pot of coffee.
Yeah, he's staying overnight here. He'll be ready for tomorrow.
I am right here. I am ready to go.
Well, you're going to need to keep it going, because tomorrow is another long day, but it is going to be a good one. When we come back, we're going to get you ready with some thoughts on tomorrow's second Cup race at Dover, plus the Indy 500. The greatest spectacle in racing takes place tomorrow on NBC, the 104th running of the Indianapolis 500. Marco Andretti starts on the pole and will try to follow in his grandfather Mario's footsteps. It's going to be exciting. And actually, it is a family affair, because not only that, but Mario and Michael Andretti will lead the field to green on Sunday in the 2-seater. There you see the family photo, and Michael thought he was driving the 2-seater, Kyle, and Mario put this out and said, not happening, I'm driving. I actually had the pleasure of doing a 2-seater with Mario Andretti, and I drove. I'm teasing. I did do a 2-seater right with my Texas. But.
I know Mario didn't do that, but listen, what a special moment for an incredible family, for a family that has meant so much to motorsports in this country for so many years. What a special moment for those guys. So I am truly, truly excited. From the Petty family, I know from the Jarrett family, from families that have been in racing, that is a special, special moment, special honor, something they'll always remember no matter what.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Mario's still in charge of that whole thing.
Sure,
always has been and always will be. But as long as they're going to have a great race there, should be fascinating to watch. Always is. But we've got 2 more races at Dover tomorrow afternoon. See if Justin Allgaier can continue things, or is Austin Cindric going to say, nope, my turn to get back into victory lane? And then I think the Toyota's going to be hard to beat once again.
Yeah, and just for everybody's knowledge out there, I'll be doing pre-race and post-race for every automobile race on NBC for the next next 24 hours with the pots of coffee I've drank. Thank you, Krista. See you next week.
He could do it. Dale Jarrett will be in the booth calling the Xfinity Series race with Steve Letarte and Jeff Burton. There's Mike Bagley dropping the green flag for today's action. Again, our race winner is Justin Allgaier in the Xfinity Series race, driving that number 7. A great day for Jimmy Johnson, but it was Denny Hamlin at the end of the day in Dover. What will happen tomorrow? We can't wait to see. Let's head now to Virginia International Raceway for IMSA action with the Michelin GT Challenge. That's coming up next.